what if we bring in one of the best rosters that's ever played this game and maybe make a slight improvement by adding Maya to that team? Is it enough to outrun the curse that Team Liquid and now Team Liquid Alienware might be playing under, up against quite possibly one of the best rosters ever assembled in FaZe Clan themselves? I honestly don't know, but you know what I do know? Jesse gets a solid birthday gift because we have one hell of a match ahead of us.
Well, it should be a fantastic one, Parker. Coming in, I messaged you before this game began, and I told you the one thing I want for my birthday is 45 rounds of FaZe Clan versus Team Liquid Alienware, and I'm hoping that's what we can get in this matchup. Of course, starting on Fortress, the desk wrote it down beautifully. Leo gave you all the stats. This has been a very comfortable map for FaZe Clan. Played it a ton at the 6th Invitational. Probably should have gone undefeated at SI. But Joom kind of did Joom things, and so, of course, that didn't end up going that way. But, yeah, realistically, this is going to be a tough first map for Team Liquid Alienware. They're going to have their hands full up against this FaZe Clan squad. They'll be starting on the defense to boot, which, against good teams, this map can lean attackers sometimes.
Like, to boot isn't like a boot or like about, or what do you...
You're also Canadian. What are you trying to make fun of my accent for here?
Except the difference is that I don't sound Canadian.
You sound American, which is worse.
That is technically, I will agree with that. This is my first time casting this Team Liquid Alienware roster since changing the branding on the name. This is still the same Team Liquid organization that you know and love. They've just picked up a sponsorship with Alienware, potentially a partnership. I don't know the full details of it, but T-Law is how they are often pronounced. If you were wondering who T-Law is, it's Team Liquid Alienware. FaZe on the other side, completely unchanged. This is the back-to-back World Championship winning squad. Insane to think that they might not make it to the major. Nothing happening through this first minute. They just look like they were going to try to breach the wall. I don't know if Maya really wanted to engage there, and he falls off.
Yeah, gonna be a little bit awkward to kind of make that happen now at this point. This bottom floor control coming through as well from FaZe Clan. They're going to have a good bit of space to be able to take this from themselves. Starting to deal with the traps. You will see most teams go for one of these kind of south over pushes to try to make themselves a little bit easier entry into the building, give themselves this map control. And I love Vidiking on the Monty. I have often called Vidiking the best Monty in the world. He's had his ups and downs for sure, but I think he still holds on to that title. Such a strong passive support player. Doesn't play as much of the Blitz Blackbeard as we see from other Shield players, but so powerful on the Monty.
You didn't cast the matchup with me yesterday. I got to cast with Lynx, which was really quite a treat. And we saw the Fortress matchup of Nip versus Furia. And the Monty wasn't really that much of a factor because he was banned out most of the round. So we saw the Blitz and the Blackbeard get employed quite often, coupled with a lot of intel ops. And FaZe Clan's going with sort of the same thing here. You know, you need some kind of hard breach, whether it be Ace or Thermite. So Thermite is obviously being brought by Souls. That's not abnormal. And then they brought the Snake Deimos combo. Dokkaebi is not a bad operator to bring here. You can see some Lion too. We've switched from it being more about shields and more to information. I don't know if either of those players had intel, but they perfectly trade. So, hey, I guess that's good for something. JB92 down, KDS down. And with 30 seconds left, this round gone in the blink of an eye, neither team closer to a conclusion. Maya, who was looking for maybe an early engagement and waited a little bit farther back, he's taken out by Cyber. KZ is on the board. We are still no closer to a resolution. Leapox has gone undroned, and he's let the Monty go right past him. He could easily pop up and do some serious damage, and he'll do just that. Completely defanging the offense, and T-Law wins round number 1.
Brilliant play coming out from the captain of Team Liquid Alienware, Leapox, up to his old tricks, hiding in the bathtub. Why not? It ended up being a really close round up until that point, Parker. I loved the push coming out from FaZe Clan. The Monty was getting them space. Saber was winning fights. They shut down Maya, which is going to be a huge factor in this game, stopping the best player on Team Liquid Alienware from doing what he does best. But in the end, it's just that little bit of a lack of information, lack of time as they pushed in there. Didn't quite have the read onto where Leapox would be, which not necessarily their fault. How would you expect the player to be sitting in the bathtub. But it's important to note as well, he's only able to take that position and hold on to it because they killed KDS so early in that round. KDS was on the snake. If he's alive and not dying on the horse door as he did to JV92, that's an easy read to spot out that position. There would have been no chance for Fleepox to survive in that spot. So important early picks enable that play, and then Fleepox really nice to recognize that and be able to take advantage of it.
I'm surprised with all the information that they had that he went undroned, Jesse. That's the most astonishing thing. They had the Flores as well. And I mean, I know that Flores is mostly for destructive work, but when you've got so many intel ops and you've got extra drone ops, expect to see a Flores or a Twitch through a lot of these rounds because of the value that they provide from their gadgets, but also the information they provide. It is crazy to me that you would not bother to drone out the actual site. Oh, well, I mean, every team is going to make mistakes. That is a pretty big oversight by FaZe Clan. Admittedly, they didn't have a ton of time left, and T-Law had done a very good job of getting rid of most of their information. So it's one of those things where handled well by the defenders, answered really well by the defenders when the attackers tried to change things up, and ultimately they pay for it. But who's expecting somebody to be hiding in the tub? I can't believe it.
Listen, it's the first round of the series. We've got 44 more to go, Parker, so we'll forgive it for now. They've got lots of time to pull this one back on the side of FaZe Clan, and frankly, the strat hasn't changed too much. We've still got Vidaking on the Monty. We've still got KDS here on the Snake, so these core operators to the push are still remaining true, and they're, again, clearing the top floor on the opposite side of where the bomb site is. Very standard stuff coming out for these pushes. Cyber up in the glass is a bit of a neat one, of course. Received a very small buff over the last couple of days, so we're seeing a bit more glass play, but has always been a strong operator, so not a surprise to see that come through. Vidaking taking horse control now, and the bathroom players will start to engage with this roam clear.
You see Vidaking being a lot more careful about the angles. He's checking it once, checking it twice, almost like Santa Claus. Going to make sure that T-Law is maybe a little bit less naughty, a little bit more nice. So gaining information, hoping that the rest of his team can follow up on it. You've seen more F2 usage as of late. It's been touched on by some of the other commentators. The change that came out to that gun when Solid Snake was announced has made it far more viable on both operators. You don't see the 417 brought as readily on Twitch. The addition of that grip obviously really helping here. Vidaking, after his scouting mission earlier on, has now fallen way back. JV92 involved in the first interaction yet again. This time, no trade to be had. It's him versus Handy. Handy walks away with the kill. Just a little bit under a minute to go. You already see the gas going out. KZ's got one remaining in pocket, and the Tubarão juggle now will stop the advance from the hard breach. All the while, Jesse, Cyber has gotten into position as this glass and can do some serious damage.
Yeah, the clock's the real problem, though, Part. We're 35 seconds still. Toxic Babes and Zoto canisters to stall this breach. So if they aren't fast on the side of FaZe Clan, this could be really devastating. It's hard to get the plant off Tachanka there, too.
They do some fireworks to get Cyber out of this position. He was hoping to take care of the bulletproof camera. Can't get the job done. Nade on the board, traded back by FaZe immediately. Final 20 seconds of this round. And I don't know, honestly, who's got the upper hand. It seems like FaZe Clan are just marching into their death. Yet again, Fleepox, a big player here now, sitting with 4 kills, still very much alive. HP low on the side of T-Law, winnable for FaZe. They just need to get in. Diffuser going down. Vidaking being watched by Souls. Souls only good enough for one, and Vidaking is left to flounder as Maya cleans up, giving Team Liquid Alienware the second round.
And really, Parker, things are all going according to plan for T-Law. Everything that they want to do is working for them. Look how much stall there was committed to that defense. They had Goyo stalling, they had Smoke stalling, they had Tubarão stalling, they had Tachanka stalling. Almost every single operator on that defensive lineup from Team Liquid Alienware was designed to waste time off the clock, and that's exactly what they did. Very similar to round number 1. They recognized that FaZe Clan are going to take their time clearing through the map. They've got the Monty, their FaZe. You kind of expect them to be a slow team when it comes to clearing things out. This has long been their identity, and Team Liquid Alienware are doing a great job taking advantage of that. Whilst the rounds are getting close, while the man counts are getting low, and while maybe it's looking a bit scrappy, I'd actually argue that that's exactly how Team Liquid Alienware want these rounds to end. They want things to get down to the last couple of seconds. They know as long as there's 20 seconds or less on the clock, they've got kind of a big advantage. It's going to be really tough for FaZe Clan to walk in and plant the diffuser like they always like to. I mean, this is a very objective-focused team. So I think it comes back down to the familiarity of these two squads. They have come up against each other so many times over the last 3-4 years. The history goes back very deep, and Team Liquid Alienware, I think, have just done a great job of reading their opponents so far through the first two.
I don't know if people tuned into the first matchup of the series, that Fluxo W7M versus Lost match, but my God, what an absolute roller coaster that was. After map one, a lot of us were saying, well, okay, Fluxo W7M is going to, you know, sleepwalk, I suppose is the correct way of putting it, to the major. And then, well, spoilers, Los had something to say about that. What an incredible run for Dash in particular. I know a lot of people are talking about Perez, and I think for good reason. He's been a terrific player for so long, and when some of the top teams were had a bit of a rough go of it through the first couple days of kickoff, people were saying, well, why didn't they pick up Perez? Why didn't they pick up Perez? He's the one laughing now. He's on one of the 3 teams now qualified for the major. 1 spot remains. These 2 teams fighting for it. Team Liquid playing on defense on Fortress, a very favorable defender map at the present moment, picked by FaZe Clan, but because Team Liquid Alienware have the upper hand when it comes to sides, we expect a 4-2 first half. The question becomes, what can FaZe do to change this up? As you said, this Team Liquid Alienware roster is handling this map very effectively. FaZe really not been as good through the mid to late round. The start of the round, okay. But beyond that, things get a little tough. They're bucking the trend here now, though. Philippox, unkillable so far until I speak and Cyber takes him down. So FaZe will regain the numbers advantage as half of the round is still left. But it was a good start for T-Law.
Yeah, they've sped things up on the side of FaZe Clan, and that's been good for them. You can see just the signal of Vidaking changing from one shield to another. The Blitz signals a speed of pace, a change of pace to speed things up. But they have to sacrifice something for that, Parker. They didn't take top floor control. They've gone direct to site, and without that map control, it might set themselves up awkwardly for this late round push. Now, their kills are still working in their favor. They've dealt with those players up above. It leaves Maya and Nate alone in the site, and there is now way more time on the clock than what they've dealt with previously. This looks far better for FaZe Clan I mean, it's night and day.
It's just Nade now plotting inside a cafeteria. Here, the SMG-11 going off as the shield encroaches as Vidaking gets in. Got a good read on this. Roughly about 30 seconds left. My feed is completely dead.
Well, I'm going to go for a bit of a rotate here. Actually, 30 seconds. Vidaking is going to run over towards Medbay, try to put pressure on the other side of this bomb site, Parker, hoping to be able to get in for a different plant spot. Now, Maya's recognized that, but he loses the gunfight. All 3 players looking at him. Now he's trying to find the last 2. Okay, he's the last one alive in the 1v2, trying to find Vidaking and Cyber. 10 seconds left on the plant, but it's Cyber with the headshot, takes down Maya, and gives FaZe Clan their first round win here, making things a little bit safer for them. 3-0 avoided, and they bring this game close.
I mean, through 3 rounds, you got to win 1, right? Very rare that a team will win a full rotation on just about any map. Yesterday, we saw it a few times. Today, of course, we saw it once or twice as well. It would not surprise me if it happens in this matchup against FaZe and T-Law, but it comes down to the map. Here, FaZe Clan will have some familiarity on Fortress. They ultimately picked this map. They played it a long time ago, and it was against Team Secret in the grand finals. Their victory over Fluxo W7M was also hard-earned. It went full 12 rounds. So for FaZe, this is a comfortable map, but no team really tends to dominate on Fortress. I would not be surprised if this Team Liquid Alienware roster surprises us, given they don't have any recorded showing under this banner. Granted, new organization, semi-new roster, so that number will be a bit deceiving. But fundamentally, I like what we saw out of T-Law. Like a lot of teams on this map, you want to knock the the attackers off their strides. So defenders tend to be a little bit more aggressive. We saw it yesterday. We've seen it through most of SAL. We've even seen it in other regions where teams will engage if they have DMRs or if they have high rate of fire weapons through the very common entry spots. If you can get an opening pick and that opening pick ends up being a hard breacher, you're in great shape. Trying to fight through this map with no follow-up hard breach is a real nightmare to be had. And if you look at the lineup that a lot of teams bring here on Fortress, they often don't double up on hard breach. Take a look in the top left of your screen. FaZe Clan have brought entirely throwables. 3 sets of nades, 2 sets of flashes. There is nothing if this thermite dies. You are just going to have to hope that you can either do enough caliber-based destruction or your opponents have opened up some of the access points to this bomb site, or else the defenders, should they have not reinforced everything off, can just do it mid-round. So an early pick onto Souls or an early pick onto any hard breach is really strong on most maps, but is especially so on a map like Fortress.
I agree, Parker, but I'm also not worried about that at all. We're talking about Souls here. He's one of the most passive players in the South America League, currently the highest rated player in the South America League as well, so he's very good at playing his life. He knows how important he is. He's not going to get into those early fights, especially not when you got guys like Cyber and KDS in front of you, plus Vidaking on a shield. There's no reason for him to be in those early engagements. We're a little worried about these footholds, but I don't believe anybody is immediately challenging him. Maya is on the other side of that wall. He's inside of dorms, but he gets away with it with his life, and I believe can pop that wall unless it just got shot off. Popped it now, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be a little bit of ground being taken by FaZe Clan. Still, this roam clear, such an important part of the defense, and they're having some trouble forcing it out, despite the information they're getting with the Deimos and with the Snake.
And the Blackbeard getting ever closer with the Monty band out. You got to get creative, and Vidaking will immediately make his presence known. Cyber traded off. This T-Law team has been very good at equalizing numbers. Neither of these squads actually have been able to run away with this man count. So positioned well, greeting each other at their fury. KDS on the board will give FaZe Clan a numbers advantage, but for how long will that last? You got passive gadgets, presumably from the Ella, assuming those Guzmats have been thrown out. And then, of course, the Dread9s that have been used by Philippox. 3 offensive players still left on the side of T-Law. That's pretty good. JV92's had a rough go of it so far, but role changes have necessitated that. When you bring in a guy like Maya to do some killing, you can make some changes. So, another kill from FaZe Clan, 40 seconds left. They've got Diffuse Kit in the hands of Vidaking, but there's some low HP on the side of FaZe.
Yeah, this is really awkward. Another one falls. It's just Nate in the 1v4. He's one of the best clutch players that we have in the league. He swings with the shotgun hunting for KDS. Almost gets it, Parker, but not quite enough. The plant will finish from Vidaking, and now he's got an impossible task in front of him.
You say impossible, but 3 players on FaZe at such low HP with a shotgun and SMG-11, crazier things have happened. I don't have much hope because of where Nate is, though, as they are completely pinched him. He does take out what little remains of KDS. Bullets bouncing off of the shield of the Blackbeard as Vidaking is now taking some damage from the gas. Another gas canister will go out. Does it find any success? Maybe obscuring the position of Nade, but he is running out of time. A heroic effort marching into the bomb site, but only a couple seconds to go, and he'll have to stick this with 2 players left. Yeah, it wasn't happening at all. Blindly firing away. FaZe Clan don't need to give him anything. Andy will take down his brother, and with it, they will tie things up.
Nice little push to come through again. I was worried about the clock, right? That was really what was being used as the game plan from Team Liquid Alienware, at least for those first 2 rounds. But they got a little bit more aggressive in that one, Parker. They tried to take those early gunfights, but with all the information that FaZe Clan had, they were just really tough fights to take. You had the Snake, you had the Shield, you had the Deimos. I mean, information was abundant for FaZe Clan, and they used it to get those early numbers advantages and then nicely converted that into a plant. Again, tough round to come through from Nade. He maybe could have used those Toxic Babes a little bit earlier to try to stall the plants, but there just wasn't a whole lot he could do with the numbers disadvantage that he was in. Ends up in the 1v4, pulls it back to a 1v2 before being shut down by his brother. And, you know, it's not just me who's in a bit of a birthday spirit. I should mention the Ferreira twins are just 5 days away from their own birthday, Parker, turning 23 years old on April 24th. And I imagine that'll be an awkward birthday party, as one of the brothers will be headed to Salt Lake City and the other will have just been denied.
I heard both Ace and Dez say this on the broadcast a number of times before we went live, and it's imagine saying at the start of this stage that Los would make it and Fluxus W7M would not.
Yeah.
But I mean, the same thing is said here. And I believe, to their credit, they did mention it a couple times as well. That could you imagine that one of Team Liquid Alienware and FaZe Clan don't make it? And for many people, while they are competing under the horse banner, this Team Liquid Alienware roster is still the Furia roster in so many minds. Hell, if you haven't watched for a while, this is still a W7M roster that you saw go and win every single thing. So it doesn't matter what organization they're playing for. It's the matter that these players might not qualify. Now, admittedly, this has happened before. So it's not like they haven't missed an event. FaZe Clan, it would be almost world-ending. 4 years since they have missed an event. I believe the last one that they didn't make was Charlotte, or they've made every event since Charlotte. That is a crazy run for this team. And I mean, you just won a world championship. You gotta make the next major.
Yeah, this is a pretty big game for FaZe Clan. They know how important it is to make it in after the success that they've had over the last couple of years. It's all a journey, of course. I've been very impressed with them so far on this kickoff. They've really bounced right back into the season. They haven't slowed down since becoming world champions for the second time. We have gone back to the kitchen, to the cafeteria bomb site, I should say, here for Team Liquid Alienware. A bit of an awkward choice. You wouldn't expect that if you're FaZe Clan, just because the top floor sites are both unlocked, but feeling like it is going to be their best opportunity to try to regain this lead once again. It was 2-0 earlier in the series. They haven't hard contested the top floor, and you actually see this a lot from pro teams, Parker, where they maybe start top floor, but they're not willing to die for it. The vert is good up here, and Cyber's getting some value from it, but it's not like an insta-lose as it is on some other bomb sites. You can still hold on to this site as long as you're holding on to Infirmary. That's where Philippox is now with the Azami. You cannot clear this out from vert.
Oh, a tough position to be in. One of the slower rounds that we see now as well, Jesse. A minute left on the clock. Everybody still alive. First 2 rounds went in the way of the Horsemen. FaZe Clan very quickly closed that gap. And, well, I honestly think if they droned out Philippox, round number 1 goes towards FaZe as well. JV92 feeding Souls his own thoughts. That is a hell of a play as he pops up and guns him down. Advantage now for Team Liquid Alienware. Philippox next one in line of fight, and Vidiking is pushed off of this Infirmary position. A nade goes down and Philippox is finished as it's a joint effort by FaZe Clan to swing through Infirmary. Andy and Vidiking working side by side, but they don't know there's one over by the door. KZ gets both. Suddenly, what was a stalemate has now swung so much in favor of T-Law. KDS all by his own, tucked in by the washing machine, now moving over towards Infirmary. He's the one that's checking in for a doctor's visit. Maybe the morgue, I guess, would be better because it's Team Liquid Alienware to bury him and regain the lead.
Again, it's these little rat positions in the late round, Parker. Team Liquid Alienware, they love wasting time off that clock. They're winning rounds when they're not giving these fights early. Just like in rounds 1 and 2, they don't engage much with the roam clear. They fall off, they let you have this space, they deny as much time as possible. Now, they do take a couple fights around Hammam, they take a couple fights around Infirmary, those don't always go their way, but then it's KZ this time who's in that kind of cheeky spot, that corner that he's tucked into on the door. They don't expect it, that 2K turns the round around. And you kind of go back to that information game from FaZe Clan. It's like these late round information moments aren't going their way. They don't have that same info. And it's interesting. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's interesting that KDS is always the guy playing the Snake. Because Snake is by far the best information operator that we have in the game right now, at least on certain maps. And I would say Fortress is one of them. Historically, this has been Cyber's operator. No player in the South America League has played more Snake than Cyber. It's his most played operator. He's got really nice win count on it as well. But they've shifted KDS to the operator in this matchup. And I don't know if that's maybe just based on how scrims have gone. Maybe that's because of the map they're playing. Maybe it's the opponent. I'm not sure. But the information clearly isn't good enough in the late round for FaZe Clan. Something to think about on future maps. This is their final attack, of course, Parker, and they will not have the Snake on the board. So, I don't know. Just something I've noticed and something to think about going forward if FaZe continue to struggle in these late round pushes.
Snake has really seen quite an explosion in play. So, I mean, if you can gain as much intel with him as you need, then he has a huge impact on the round. Really no intel ops present from FaZe Clan. It's not even just, I know you spent a lot of time talking about Snake, but it's more than just that. There's no Deimos to be had either, no Dokkaebi available. Well, I mean, I guess they're available. They're just not being used at this point in time. So instead, it's more of a conceal lineup. You've got the smokes, you've got those sends walls. You'll be able to deal with this T-Law defense, but I like what's being brought from T-Law as well. The Frost might be a bit of an abnormal pick here. First time that we're seeing her so far today. And Vidiking almost fell victim to it, Jesse. First Frostman at the top of White Stairs.
I like this fall off. Good from FaZe Clan to not suffer to that. They will waste a good bit of time. Once again, that's always the game plan for Team Liquid Alienware. You're right, they've changed up the operators, not just the Frost, but a couple new ops coming in for this lineup, and still the goal is the same. Waste as much time, reinforce these walls, force them to breach, force them to go slowly. We've reached 90 seconds now in this round, and the map control for FaZe Clan is not the greatest. They're worried about a player in office. No one's here. No one's home. They do not want to give up early fights against if Team Liquid Alienware. This is how they lose rounds. So they're wasting this utility. They're wasting this time. And now you see a fortress of Kiva barriers, which will put even more pause into FaZe Clan.
Take a deep breath if you're a fan of T-Laws. JV92 will now get flushed out of his position, and Nade will follow up. But if you're a fan of the Horsemen, they have luckily gotten out of there alive. JV92 will not, though. He gets caught by Souls, Vidaking on the board as well, and FaZe sweeping through this Team Liquid Alienware defense. Only 2 remain on the side of T-Law. They find their first frag, though. Philippox throwing out that Nitro cell, and he'll do work with the gun as well. He has been a one-man show so far, leading the way from his position on this squad. 7 kills now. More work to be done as Diffuse Kid is going down. Surely Philippox knows this, right? In KZ, trying to get ever closer to this bomb site, completely blinded. KZ gets 1. Philippox finds a 3rd. A quad kill will need to be had. He's been down, though, now, so it's KZ to do all of the work in a 1v1 up against Vidaking in the blitz, waiting for that shield to go down. He'll charge on in. Oh my goodness, KZ gets the job done, and Team Liquid Alienware will win a nail biter and take the first half 4-2.
He's just fantastic, isn't he, Parker? KZ, the former SI MVP, with a couple huge rounds in this first half on Fortress. They will tie the game 3 apiece. FaZe Clan looking red hot on that final push coming through. I think we've got a desk now to break down how we've seen these first 6 rounds unfold.
Yes, indeed you do, my friends. We were looking at a very tactical half here, Leo, where both teams are trading blows, trading shots, sight after the next, operators and how they're playing. And then Team Liquid also hit us with big plays. We got a mix of everything happening at the same time, Leo.
Yeah, and honestly, what a way to do it. I mean, I think on one side, first and foremost, what a tactical way to do this. Like, this matchup, in terms of strategy, is just far beyond the first matchup that we've seen. Both teams going blow for blow. If we look at this from a tactical standpoint, let's take a look at one of the first round on side of Team Liquid, right? The way they defend it is trying to peel off as much as possible. And, you know, in round 1, the best example is Philippox hiding there in his bathtub and getting rid of the plant, right? I think smart way to go about it, trying to punish this, like you can see towards the late round. Really nice play. On the side of FaZe, though, if you don't get that control, if we switch now to round 4, for example, and we look at the way they do it, if they can get successfully control of the map, they will snowball. And you know, it is actually very impressive to see their abuse of Solid Snake. In this round in particular, for example, they're room clearing, right? They're trying to get rid of this meeting player. Look at Handy putting pressure on the window here, making sure that there is a trade potential. On the other side, the movement created by this is punished by KDS was on Horse door. When someone tries to rotate towards Horse, he gets the pick. And remember that first player that we're trying to room clear here? They're still on this, and they will still work on it together. So as you can see, the Blackbeard slowly advances. Handy is ready on the window to go and punish the player. So as soon as that guy gets naded, Handy jumps in the window and will take that gunfight and actually win it. Boom. We've just went from a 4v4 to a 4v2. So you can see both theories here. On one side, Team Liquid Alienware, who's trying to peel off slowly without giving bodies. On the other hand, FaZe Clan, who's taking things slowly. And if it wasn't for this incredible clutch from, I think it was KZ in the last round, we would be in a 3-3 split where both teams are playing such a good game. But right now, and it's exactly like on Clubhouse when Team Liquid Alienware beat FaZe Clan, it is down to individual prowess to set them apart.
Tactical play compensated by individual prowess when the moment requires it. We're getting a hell of a match on the side switch. Can FaZe recreate this on their defense? We'll have to see. Over to Intero and Jesse.
Oh, thank you so very much. I mean, obviously it's a good start for Team Liquid Alienware, but I think it is fair to say that with all the commentary we can do, this is pretty much where you want to be, right? Starting on the better side of your opponent's map, a 4-2 scoreline is about as common as, well, the common cold, I suppose. Maybe something else is more common. But I think the common cold fits here. So, I mean, we're kind of, I don't want to say we're tripping over ourselves to give credit to this Team Liquid Alienware roster. Lux doesn't go undroned and FaZe Clan wins that, and you get a 3-3 first half on your own map on the side that you didn't choose. Hey, that's really great. So I honestly think, despite what the scoreline looks, FaZe Clan has the slight edge in my eyes, and I am happy for people who are both smarter and dumber than me to disagree, but ultimately I think FaZe Clan is in a pretty good position. These next 2 rounds are really going to tell me the whole story. In all reality, FaZe Clan should tie things up by the start of round number 9. Are we going to get there? Let's find out.
Yeah, I think this is an insanely close game. There's no other real way to cut it. You could make arguments over who's in the better position, but at the end of the day, this is still wide open for either team to take. Team Liquid Alienware, slight advantage on the score, now 4-2 to be clear on that. FaZe Clan, slight advantage on the side. So we'll have to see how this one goes. I don't think Fortress is especially defender or attacker sided. Again, I think it really just depends on how the teams are playing it on the day. Double shield ban from FaZe Clan this time around, so they're trying to take those tools away from Philippox. He will still find one. The Blackbeard is his operator of choice for round 7 to try to bring it into this round. Try to create some space for the players to take that and run with it. KZ, again, has been fantastic so far throughout this game. Him on the entry alongside Maya has been really one of the strongest points for Team Liquid Alienware so far this season. 53% opening pick success rate for this squad, and they're hoping to make that even higher in this game against FaZe Clan. Not as much of a presence on the roam clear like what we saw from FaZe Clan, Parker. They're instead taking a little bit of control below. They're pressuring Horse, but a lot of the focus is directly on the bomb site.
Halfway through the round, and I mean, we saw the first couple rounds of this map where, oh, hey, look, they're actually going through the windows. They're trying for early aggression, early pressure. And I talked about it, and then it has completely fallen apart. Now a bit more of a sluggish execute. KZ is hoping to get somebody now over by Horse as he advances in that direction. They found Cyber, and Vidaking is hopeful on the window, hoping to get somebody. Can't find anybody just yet. KDS is down for the count. Cyber still bleeding out. Handy, the only kill at this point in time. Cyber finished off by a nade. So the advantage for Team Liquid Alienware, but Vidaking will answer right back. Slow HP for Maya at the moment. Still sitting over with those ROU projectors, waiting for the gas to clear as he marches his way down from the tower over towards the back of the bomb site. And he will need more now as he's lost Vidaking. Soul's on the board. Maya falls. There wasn't much to him, so not a big deal. Now it's KZ and JV92 as the last standing, and they will get the job done with a kill apiece, and Team Liquid Alienware continue their winning ways. They're up 5-2, and I said if FaZe Clan couldn't win the next 2 rounds, that would tell us a lot. Well, they've dropped 1 so far, and it was a pretty triumphant entry from T-Law.
Yeah, I mean, close round again. Parker comes down to the 1v2, but notice how Team Liquid Alienware didn't fall into the same pitfalls that FaZe Clan did on their first couple of attacks. Instead of trying to full clear the map and waste a bunch of time, they more or less went direct to site. They were pushing up White Stairs, they had new tower control, they were pushing in through Horse, they were taking relatively short paths to get to the bomb site from outside the building, and it kind of allowed them to spend a lot more time working fights on those anchors. One of the biggest things about Fortress is there's not a ton of great positions to play as the defense. You kind of have to work your way into awkward positions, use Kibas or other kind of utility to give yourself advantage in a lot of these fights. But FaZe Clan couldn't do that in that previous round. Team Liquid Alienware had a really nice push coming together. Again, the snake play was excellent from KZ. He continues to be my MVP throughout this match. Now 9-3, a 3.0 KDR has been really impressive, especially against the 2-time world champions. And JV92 getting a bit more active as well. There's been a lot of talk about him on his roles and how he's performed. He has not gone positive in a map since February 8th. He has not had a statistically great start to the season. And yes, that has come with empowering guys like Maya, but you still want to see him popping off when he can from time to time. And that round, I think, was a good example of how strong he can be as an individual.
Somebody has got to be bottom frag on this team. You got 5 players, just as when you have 2 combatants enter a matchup, one of them has to be the loser. Somebody on the team is going to be at the bottom. I mean, if it's JV92, then that means everybody else is doing their job exceptionally well. I will say again, JV92's role for some of these rounds and some of Kickoff has been less at the forefront than when he was on that old Furious squad. Maya's picked up a lot more fragging duties, and Philippox, while he is capable of fragging, has never really been that player on this particular team. I know that people might want to correct me because of a particular series here, but he's been doing very well too. So I feel like the whole team is performing a bit better as a unit, even if your individual stats are going to go down. Nade punishing Cyber. Cyber died early in the previous round. He will find himself in the same perilous spot this time. Andy, the only one on the board, is T-Law sweeping through FaZe Clan. A minute 50 still on the clock, and Handy is last man standing. What happened to FaZe here? T-Law marching their way towards match point. Diffuse planted, and now Handy will have to retake his own bomb site. Air strips through Nade. LMGs mean you can just spam bullets through the door, but it's JV92 on the flank who gets the final kill, and match point on FaZe's map for Team Liquid Alienware.
Yeah, this has turned into a level of dominance we were not expecting, Parker. Whilst just a few minutes ago we were saying it's anyone's game, now I'm inclined to say that this is desperate for FaZe Clan. Of course, they've got to win 4 straight. It's easy to see that, but even the way these attacks have gone, again, the plan doesn't change much for Team Liquid Alienware. They're not dealing with these roamers. Handy is across the map, and he's the last one to die because Team Liquid Alienware didn't care about Handy. They were focused on the site. They were getting in with a Glaz. They were getting in with Lion charges. They were getting in with Dokkaebi calls. All of this information that they had, the triple combo of Dokkaebi plus Deimos plus Lion plus Snake. It's a really quad combo of intel there coming through from Team Liquid Alienware. It just made that bomb site impossible to play in. And when you have the man advantage because the roamers are off site and not really part of that fight, I mean, it's just so advantageous for Team Liquid Alienware. I've loved the way they've put together these pushes. They clearly have a great read on FaZe Clan. We said FaZe were favorites on this map because they played so well at it back at SI, but I think Team Liquid Alienware, they've dug into that a little bit. They've clearly practiced this map a lot, and they are looking excellent to steal their opponent's pick and put themselves in an amazing spot in the series.
This FaZe Clan team is a little bizarre to me, Jesse, because everything you said is spot on. And yet, even during their run at SI, there were times where it just felt like FaZe Clan weren't really doing much, and then all of a sudden they win 3 rounds, barely breaking a sweat, and oh, suddenly it's a competitive match again. This team has been, you know, a bit of a mystery here, and I mean, they haven't had as dominant a run in their region as they would have liked. When you look at some of the rosters across all of the main regions, some teams are really good domestically, others flourish internationally. One in North America that we talk about quite a lot is Wildcard. But FaZe Clan has usually been able to beat up their region and then also dominate internationally. Admittedly, they lived in the shadow of that W7M Furia roster for a little bit of time, but this has been such a consistent team, you know, over 1,000 days since they missed their last major. It is crazy for me to see the way that FaZe Clan is currently being manhandled in this best of 3.
Bit of a sneaky strat here, Parker. The mute jammer is keeping Cyber safe in this rat position. He cannot be seen by Solid Snake or Dokkaebi, of course. None of these ops have actually been brought by Team Liquid Alienware, but this is the game plan for FaZe Clan. Rat behind this mute jammer, and it still works perfectly. They have no clue he's here. Pops up for a free kill on a JV92, and now he's a big problem the Team Liquid Alienware need to deal with.
Cyber taken out early in the previous 2 rounds. Getting to live towards the tail end of this round would be a huge boon for his team. He's good enough for 1 kill. Philippox takes the bit of a brave measure of dropping the shield and doing things himself. 10 kills for Philippox on the Fuse shield, trailed only by KZ on his team. Top 2 fraggers right now in the lobby, both on the side of the Horsemen. And there's a chance for those numbers to continue to tick upwards through the remainder of this round. You'd need FaZe Clan to win to see it go higher than that. FaZe Clan in a bit of a hole. Only 2 rounds so far. Vidaking, lone line of defense, staring at that bomb chassis inside a cafeteria. He's not far removed from Handy playing in kitchen, but they will need some help from these offsite players. Has Souls been droned out? What are the rest of these mid-round players from Team Liquid Alienware doing? Where are they finding the offsite players? And are they able to find them fast enough? 45 seconds to go. You don't have a numbers advantage, but you got the defuse kit and you got to get to the site quickly.
Yeah, Philippox holding it just behind KZ, so as these Sens walls come out, this will prompt the start to the push, but no, they won't be able to get raised as Souls domes KZ and puts them into an even more awkward position. The smoke is there. Philippox takes a bit of damage as he gets into sight.
They take down KDS. Now Nade looking to strike as Philippox dies. That's Diffuser surrendered. This is very bad for Team Liquid Alienware. The advantage for FaZe Clan is they just need to ride out these final 15 seconds. Maya and Nade working together. Nade shooting as much of the vending machine as he can, but will get caught in a crossfire, chasing the Mira on the ground. Souls a huge moment in the final 30 seconds, claiming so many heads on the side of T-Law. FaZe Clan will survive for another round, but still match point for Team Liquid Alienware.
This cafeteria bomb site continues to be such a mystery to me, Parker, because it is the tertiary site for essentially every team. Defending teams don't really love to play it, but the win rate continues to be very high. We've seen team after team find success on this bottom floor bomb site, and you can see maybe a little bit of unfamiliarity, a little bit of uncomfortableness from Team Liquid Alienware in that push. They get old tower really quickly. They get top control relatively quickly. It's a bit shaky with Cyber, but he only goes for the 1v1. I don't think Cyber does that much to help them in that round. They have all the space that they could want, but they're not able to really clear out those key positions. It takes them a while to get control of Infirmary. The bomb site being played with Thorn Traps and Mira Windows is something they don't have great answers to. They didn't bring much vert to that push either on the side of Team Liquid Alienware, so tripping up a little bit and a couple of small gunfights not going their way makes the difference, and it gives the round over to FaZe Clan, keeping them alive. I'm not surprised to see attack timeout here, of course, from FaZe. Rafadel will have to talk to his team and get them back on track. They can't play Cafeteria again until round 12, and getting to round 12 is going to be a real problem for them because Liquid's attacks were excellent on the top floor. I don't know how you stop them. I don't know how you adapt to those pushes coming through, but they've got to find an answer. It starts with the snake ban.
A really good operator to ban on most maps. Obviously,
Yes.
showing a lot of prominence. You saw Snake a lot in that first half, played by KZ and Maya now in this second half. So you're going to take away one of the best intel operators in the game from Team Liquid. I mean, you've taken out the other shields as well. So you eliminate the shields, put them in a position where they can only play Blackbeard or Fuse. You saw the adaptation from Philippox as he played the Fuse shield in the previous round. He did Lion the round before that, opting to go without a shield in round 8. And it actually worked very effectively. This time, unless there's some operator changes coming in the next 20 seconds, it'll be a Blackbeard play for Philippox. And why not? I mean, he's feeling himself from a fragging department. Blackbeard usually allows you to frag better than a Fuse shield. And if it's a linear execute, those cluster charges from Fuse really don't find an awful lot of value. So bring an operator that is better at attracting attention, better at fragging, and you can still call off of it with a good gun. That's a smart play. He'll lock in the Blackbeard. And as for intel, you're not really bringing all that much beyond the drones. And this is where I think a distinction needs to be made here. When we usually talk about intel ops, at least when I talk about them on attack, you're looking at Solid Snake. You're looking at Deimos, Dokkaebi, Lion, Jackal. Usually played in that order. But you've also, what are you laughing at?
Jackal's like an honorable mention. Like, you're right.
Jackal
He
is an
fits in that
intel op.
category.
He can be played. Yes, he is. Jackal is going to show up in pro play as much as I am, Jesse. I get it. Okay?
You're right. You're right.
But people often forget that these drone ops are not just good for taking out gadgetry. They're good for intel as well. And yes, while there is a Fuse charge on those Rotero drones that lasts for, 10 seconds, you've still got Flores gaining information. You're still going to have information from the Twitch drones as well. So you might not have active operators to do it, but you've got extra drone work. And with the way that this Team Liquid Alienware squad plays, extra drones is always a good thing.
Yeah, they're going to try to use as much information as they can, and they're switching their attack up a little bit as well here. They are going to clear it through the top floor. This hasn't been so successful in this game in particular, but of course it is still the meta way to attack this site. So we're expecting to see some big things coming out from Team Liquid Alienware. It's the battle on Horse, which claims the first victim. The nade nearly finishes off Handy. Another one comes through, and that'll do it. KZ jumps himself up now even higher on the kill feed to take down Handy and give themselves that man advantage. That's a bit of an awkward pick, too, because he was one of those more southward-facing players. The rest of the roam game has really fallen off. They've kind of come back towards the bomb site. I say that. KDS is sticking around in briefing, so he'll be in a gunfight soon. But without his teammate, what can he do in this position?
Well, he's going to Bandit trick.
Okay.
Well, you asked what he was going to do, and that was literally his immediate response. No damage done to Team Liquid Alienware just yet. Allowing that information from the drones to be relayed to these players. Philippox had one caught inside of this map room. He's a little concerned as he now ponders his next move. Hard breach going off in the hands of JV92 and some warning shots fired out by Philippox. He doesn't know if there's one on the rotate. He's still unsure if there's one by the door. I don't know how many drones there are to rely on, but at this point in time, you are well past the discovery phase. Yes, you have a small numbers advantage, but there's only 40 seconds to pull this off.
Yeah, I'm worried about the time, Parker. This is what we saw in the first couple rounds. This is what FaZe Clan struggled with the most. Team Liquid Alienware need to find an answer that their opponents just could not.
Soul's almost had a golden opportunity, but the shield reflecting those bullets. Fleepox stays alive, still charging forward. Wanting a dance with death. With the Thorn out-dueled, JB92 almost gets him in time. Souls crushes 2. Still very much capable, but no, shredded. Now it's all up to Vidaking in a 1v2. Eliminating Maya. It's him and KZ now fighting to the death. Only 5 seconds to go. Diffuse kit not in hand. What an ego play from Vidaking. He could have ran, but he decided to go for it. 2 in a row for FaZe Clan as they mount a comeback.
They're 2 round wins. They're not necessarily confident, but they're 2 round wins nonetheless. They continue to survive on Fortress. And once again, this stall was just such a big problem for Team Liquid Alienware. The one thing that gave them any life in that round was the man we've been talking about since the beginning. KZ continues to be the star here on the map, coming through from Team Liquid Alienware. His push through Horse not only got that opening pick, got a couple of more picks as his teammates were all struggling over towards briefing. He gets down to a 1v1. If he predicts the right angle, he absolutely could have won that. Unfortunately, just doesn't predict the right spot, doesn't have the information. He did all that he could, frankly. He's had a fantastic game here, but it's just not quite good enough. That stall game, really powerful coming through from FaZe Clan. Team Liquid Alienware not able to take that space fast enough. I do think in part due to not having the snake. I mean, it was one of the things that our analyst desk highlighted in our halftime, right? Round 4, how good was that push from FaZe Clan with the snake, clearing that southern roam. Liquid are trying the same thing. They don't have the snake. They go up against a lot of utility. There's the Thorn Shield. There's the Bandit who's tricking on the briefing wall. There is a lot to deal with, but in the end, it's too much for Liquid to get past. They're not able to get that space in time, and with the clock, could have been a win on time for Vidaking. He ego challenges and wins it anyways, but either way you cut it, that's going to be FaZe Clan staying alive still.
What did I say right before they mounted this 2-round comeback? There are times where we'll look at FaZe Clan and be like, they don't really look that good. They don't look that formidable. They're just kind of doing stuff and getting beat. And then all of a sudden they just business as usual and they kill everybody. These are not particularly pretty rounds from FaZe Clan. These are very scrappy. These are desperation rounds. But a round's a round. And as long as you can get that victory, it doesn't really matter how cute or how ugly your overall play is. Right now, it's about staying alive. And FaZe Clan, through 2 of the last rounds, have mounted quite a comeback. And it still continues, by the way. FaZe riding defense here on Fortress. It has been the statistical better side between these 2 teams. But the danger here, Jesse, is that Team Liquid Alienware just needs a single round. Just one more round. And that's it. And then we move on to Clubhouse as the second map, and that's Team Liquid Alienware's choice. So still a bit worrying for FaZe and their fans because their major is on the line, as it is for Team Liquid Alienware, but it's T-Law right now with the lead.
There was any organization to choke out a lead that like this, 6-2, I'm just saying.
Don't.
Different core, it's a different core. And frankly, when it comes to comebacks and throws between these 2 teams, it's been FaZe Clan who have had the worst of it historically. With all the Candelas coming in, this should prompt the push. The Logic Bomb as well, and the opening gunfight for KZ takes down Cyber. It gets traded back as it's, I believe, a Denari trip, which ends up finding Nade. Fair enough. Smoke for another util pick on the Fleepox. We just keep on going without the guns.
T-Law killing everybody with their weapons. FaZe Clan killing everybody with their gadgets. It goes to show you the nice, the dual nature of this game, because Siege is not just a shooter. What the
gadgets do not work for T-Law. The gadgets are not their forte.
We haven't seen yet. Still plenty of time for Team Liquid Alienware to get into the building and, more importantly, retrieve the defuse kit, which got dropped when Fleepox was killed earlier. KZ has now leapt over Fleepox for most kills on this squad. He's still alive. He's still got utility, for the record. 1 logic bomb, 2 flashes, and a gun in hand. You can do some serious damage, but FaZe Clan's got their traps set about. You mentioned Denari earlier. You've also got a Fenrir and a Thorn on the board. And with the gas canisters now fully used with 20 seconds left, this is actually looking pretty good for FaZe Clan. I like what we're seeing. They're in rat positions. Vidaking in particular. He's used all of his gas canisters. Now he just needs to wait as T-Law will take him down. They read him very effectively. Now playing around the pillar. Soul's running out. Oh my, he bottles the kill. KDS last man standing. Diffuse kit not in hand. JV92 will take the fight to him. And T-Law will take FaZe's map in this series, a must-win to make the major. Greatly appreciated, and thank you for laying the groundwork for us to do our jobs here as we head into Clubhouse. A map that was picked by T-Law, but honestly, Jesse, has excellent numbers for both of these squads. This really isn't a weak map for either team.
No, I mean, this is clearly a map that T-Law choose because of the earlier result in the group stage. Of course, we've touched on it a lot, but 7-4 in groups when these two teams did meet up, that was the difference maker. That's the reason why Team Liquid Alienware finished first overall in the group and FaZe Clan finished second overall in the group. Didn't matter much in the end. They both end up here in the lower bracket where they will be fighting tooth and nail. Only one of them can move on, but there's a bit of history between these two teams on this matchup, and it's more recent than really any of the other maps that we could go back and look at. So you've got to think that gives the edge to Team Liquid Alienware. On the other hand, though, of course, we do often see rematches go the other way. It's a common thing in Siege where just because you won last time does not guarantee you'll be winning it the next time. So really going to be on FaZe Clan to adapt, to change things up a little bit, and I think they're already starting to do that, Parker. Down here on the bottom floor, Cyber on this Valkyrie. He was hiding it through the prep phase. It's not something that he was playing much before on this map, so it should be able to do something to catch Team Liquid Alienware off guard.
This is a spot that the Azami would usually play up on rafters on the top floor bomb sites, but instead is now over by this position often referred to as secret, but is top blue. Mm-hmm. It always makes my head swing when the cam goes from nade to handy, because it's like, that's the same guy. And now one wears blue and one wears red. And it's like, wait, well, it's not the same guy. What's going on here? Giving us one of obviously the best stories that we've seen in Siege, which was him and his brother fighting for the hammer on home soil. Just one of the many reasons why you can easily consider that Furia versus FaZe Clan matchup to be, well, one of the greatest games of all time, at least that we saw.
You don't have to say one of.
Italy, it was W7M that they were playing under at the time too. So, I mean, the orgs are interchangeably. What do you mean you don't need to say one of the? You could still easily make the call that Penta EG was the greatest game of all time. You absolutely could. I mean,
you can make that argument. I wouldn't, but you could make it.
You could make plenty of arguments. Like your province is currently making an argument for independence, Jesse. Sometimes things that you argue for are very silly. So, first kill, by the way.
Don't lump me in with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're one of them. You're out there every day protesting. I see you. KDS, first casualty. KZ dies shortly thereafter. He was the one that killed KDS, so he will pay for his crimes right away. No Grimbees to lock down these defenders. Just a little bit over a minute to go here in first round of Clubhouse.
Yeah, it feels relatively even. It's not a heavy roam setup for FaZe Clan, so they're kind of happy just going 1-for-1, although losing the Fenrir and the ability to turn those mines on and off certainly could come back to bite them. Over 60 seconds for Team Liquid Alienware to work with this vert. They're going to be happy with that as well. They should be able to get all the hatches open with JV on this Habana. They've got good Jutsu clear for the Goyos as well. You see that nade going out from nade. So definitely lots of opportunities for Team Liquid Alienware to build the push as they want it, to craft their perfect execute. The question is, how well can they perform it? In a 4v4, it is no guarantee that things are going to go to plan. How can they adapt if FaZe start winning gunfights?
Reloading.
Aya losing some HP, doesn't really gain all that much for it, and will now need to rotate with just 30 seconds left. My God, this round is just gone. And I mean, teams know how hard it is to attack this bottom floor bomb site, even when everything's going well. Maya suffering through that razor wire, now dealing with the gas canisters. Out go the nades, both flashes and just regular explosives. He's hunting for a kill. He'll find it, traded back by Cyber immediately. 10 seconds left, and over half of the lobby still alive. Cyber in a great spot. He's got all the kills for FaZe so far. Forced off his position by a flashbang. JV will slaughter him. 1 second left. Where's the defuse kit? Nowhere to be found. FaZe Clan gets the kills in the final second and take the lead on round one.
Vidiking and Souls, one of the best support duos in the entire world, locking down the site as things got messy in the end for Team Liquid Alienware. Parker, again, they had so much time to play with. They used that time. Certainly, they were clearing utility. They were taking different positions. But in the end, it's just a couple of gunfights that don't go their way. It's the long angle from Cyber inside of Blue, which is able to trade out that pick on the Maya. And then it's a couple more gunfights as they're trying to force their way in through Church. It looked like they were setting themselves up to go in through Ashwall to get that plant down the main stairs and inside of Armory, but for one reason or another, they called that off. They decided they didn't want to go for it, and Fleetbox took the defuse kit through Memo in towards, through Moto, I should say, in towards the bomb site. That way, just kind of set things up really nicely for Souls and Vidiking to get the lion's share of those last couple kills after Cyber started things off so nicely. So, very close round. Could have gone either way depending on the gunfight, but FaZe Clan edged things out and proved that they're not out of this series just yet.
No, I mean, they obviously chose to start defending on this map. If they had immediately lost, say, the first, second, even the third round to T-Law, then, I mean, put a fork in her, she's done, right? But this team, you're never going to be able to count them out. Even with FaZe not making the major, some part of me is still like, well, what if they win the major, even not being there?
Obviously, for those that,
well, yeah, I mean, obviously a joke for those that are unaware of humor. Maybe a bad joke, but no one's on me. Either way, FaZe Clan will never give up. You saw their spirited comeback back on map number 1. Leo did correctly point out that that map could have been over quicker for T-Law, but I mean, whether it be the organization of Team Liquid through its history or whether it be these players on various rosters before, they have shown that they can suffer through some really big moments. They didn't suffer through map number 1. And honestly, it wasn't a terrible execute on round 1 here on map 2, but obviously nowhere near as formidable as some of their executes back on Fortress. So whether it be about managing the entry on this big map, it can take a while to drone out Clubhouse, and it was a bit of an unorthodox roam from FaZe Clan. Team Liquid Alienware are going to have to be a little better through the mid-round.
Some really weird breaching from JV92. He just set up these footholes with the Habana. He went just the 2x1 pellets twice in the bottom right, and I was like, is this some brand new tech to trick the wall that I've not seen? But no, the wall's still mostly reinforced. It's just for the angle. It makes it really awkward now for FaZe Clan to run past that if they're trying to deny a push. He does have the breach more fully opens towards the left, so they can enter the breach. Those just to try to hold things down. The focus, of course, for Team Liquid Alienware is going to be Rafters. There's my magnets set up to try to stop this from happening. They banned out the Capitao as well, so it's really going to come down to these air jabs and the flash grenades. What can you do to stop this player in Rafters? I believe that's going to be KDS from stopping your entire push.
Flashbang going out.
Flash is going out. Rafters control, oh, so important when it comes to this execute. How long will it take them to be able to get it? Well, very quickly. Fleetbox will take matters into his own hands, traded back immediately by Handy. And these two teams, whether it's on Fortress or here, there is never a huge gap in man count.
Yeah, I mean, it always seems so close when these two teams meet inside of a round. Once again, 4v4, once again, low time. Team Liquid Alienware have good positioning. They've got Rafters and they've got the main breach opening, but there's still 2 Nitros on the side of FaZe Clan I'm very worried about. 1 Nitro I'm very worried about.
Maya taking no prisoners. His team's taking their lumps, though, and suddenly there's only 1 left. JV92 in a 1v1 up against Soul. Soul's not far away. Right now playing inside a construction. My God, I don't know if that was just a prophetic shot or not, but he seemed to have a good idea as to where Souls was. Fleetbox now back from the dead. JV92 getting the plant down. It will push Souls into a position where he has to take the engagement head on. Good coverage from Fleetbox, but Souls is just so much better. All the while, Nade bleeding out. JV92 taken down, and Souls with an incredible clutch. My goodness.
Souls, good lord, he has been holding things down for FaZe Clan. A miraculous start to this game. He continues to be the #1 rated player in the South America League. He has not gone negative in 8 straight maps. This will be his 9th. If he can maintain his plus 4 KD at the moment, just absolutely dominating throughout kickoff and having so much impact for FaZe Clan. And I really thought JV was doing everything to win that round, Parker. 10 seconds left. He makes the call to pick up his teammate, make it a 2v1, gets the defuse kit down on the ground. He's doing everything right. I think every decision he makes is correct there. But Souls just hits some crazy shots. He wins out those gunfights. He remains perfect in this game now, 4-0. And FaZe Clan, it's the tightest of margins, but they take a 2-round lead.
Obviously, round one was a more dominant FaZe Clan finish, but this could very easily be a 1-1 here right now. And if you go back to Fortress, it ended up being a little bit closer than I think we had originally thought. But these are two teams are just so well matched. I will say yet again, because this is Team Liquid Alienware's map, and because they are starting on what some people consider to be the weaker side, you expect FaZe Clan to take the lead through this first half. If they don't, there's obviously trouble approaching and trouble present. I don't know. The mid-round was significantly better for Team Liquid Alienware. They didn't spend too much time droning and roaming or droning and pushing out the roamers early on. It was a very straightforward execute. They got an early engagement with FaZe Clan that they ended up winning. It was the tail end of the round. And sometimes, this is going to sound like I'm not doing my job properly, but I got to say it. Sometimes Souls just decides to win a round, and FaZe Clan have relied on that more than they probably should have over the last 4 years. But hey, if he can do that and steal you a round or two, you're going to let him do it. And he did it just there.
We're not in too much danger still for Team Liquid Alienware. I've liked their looks through the first 2 rounds, even though they haven't gotten a round win out of it. They now get to attack onto their 3rd bomb site. This will be gym bedroom as they start to breach a lot of these walls. They're working on both Jacuzzi and CC at the same time. Kind of given up on the CC clear as I say that. They got the wall open. They put a little pressure in towards top red, but now it looks like it's going to be a more direct to site push. Like they're not so interested in clearing out that roam game. The wall nice and open, nice and big from that thermite. They've got a great opportunity to walk in there. They've got the Logi hatch open, of course, and they got the con wall open too. It's going to be a little awkward to play these windows just because you have not secured control over CC. There's always a risk of that flank coming through. But in the end, Team Liquid Alienware, I think, have said we're okay giving up some of that space. We're okay maybe letting them have some of that. It's actually been given up. Okay, they've got it too. They got everything they want, Parker. Never mind. Fleet Fox walks in and says it's mine.
So a fall off from FaZe Clan at this point in time. Half of the round to go. Again, Clubhouse is a big map. Every bomb site is going to play out very differently. Handy starting things off, gunning down KZ. KZ was, I believe, the first casualty back in round number 1. Now the Flores is gone, so destruction from those drones, no more. Information from those drones, also no more. It's also a devastating loss. KZ was the top frag on this team on Fortress. So you got that depth on T-Law. You better see it for the next minute.
Yeah, KZ was just trying to take control down below the site. Handy gets info and somehow and goes down to be able to take it back for his team. Now they're pushing in through Con. Now they know there's players inside of Logi. How do they get this plant down? Hunting for picks, but there's no good spot. They can get inside a gym. That'd be ideal, but it's tough to take that control.
FaZe Clan just dummying them right now. Damage is being done, but blinded. T-Law not really sure of where to go. I said on Fortress that it was unlikely that you would see a full site rotation with any regularity. And of course, it was FaZe Clan who blunted T-Law's momentum. It likely won't happen here. No, it won't. Souls, the man of the hour. Final moment monster himself. Souls with the final 2 kills, and FaZe Clan will start off with that perfect site rotation, going 3-0. That round, not quite so strong for T-Law compared to the previous 2.
Yeah, it's a 7-0 stat line now for Souls, and we are on pace to see the same score line at the top of the screen, too, with FaZe Clan perfect here on their opponent's pick of Clubhouse. They look so strong in these late rounds, Parker, and that's what it comes down to time and time again. You go to the last 60 seconds over the first 3 rounds, and I don't think there's been a heavy advantage for FaZe Clan ever heading into the last minute of the round. It always feels either very even, maybe even a slight edge to Team Liquid Alienware, but the site play from the anchors in particular has been so good for FaZe. They've been consistent in being able to pull these rounds back despite not getting some of the opening picks. It was actually Team Liquid Alienware who got the first frags in rounds 1 and 2. KDS the opening death in back-to-back rounds to start this game, but it didn't matter. FaZe Clan have just got such a strong site presence. They play around their utilities so well. They trade their teammates so well, and they were doing it with really strong sharing information as well. Even that last opening gunfight that did go the way of FaZe Clan, it's Handy going down below and reacting to the information that he has, finding KZ, giving that advantage to his teammates. It's still that information which seems so much stronger for FaZe Clan, and Team Liquid Alienware, despite some good chances, have not been able to break it.
One of those things where we said, sometimes the scoreline is not the best reflection of how competitive this match has been. You look at a 3-0 and you think to yourself, yeah, FaZe Clan's been dominating. And you just pointed it out. Like, T-Law's had some really good looks here. This very easily could have a round or two going in their way. But FaZe Clan or FaZe Clan, ask Team Secret what it's like to feel like a round or two could go your way. You still don't win the championship, right? So T-Law can sit there and go, yeah, round two might have gone our way. And yeah, maybe we had a better look on round number 3 than we thought we should have. But FaZe Clan's still the team that is in the driver's seat here. And frankly, it's making this decider look far more likely. I would love to see layer between these two teams. FaZe Clan always is just such a dynamite team on that map. But if you're a fan of Team Liquid Alienware, you're desperately hoping it doesn't get to that point.
Well, they got to start turning things around sooner rather than later. Oh, it's messy here on the mid floor, but Cyber is the better. JV92 caught sprinting out of kitchen, and it's just a little peek up from Cyber on those main stairs to punish that movement. There was a bit of a roam game from FaZe that started this round, but you can see how quickly they've been able to fall off. They get the opening pick onto the hard breacher, the primary hard breacher, I should say. Philippok's still on the ace, but those hatches are going to be a little bit slower, a little bit more awkward to open now that you've lost the Hibana. And they can play sight with Kiba barriers, with Fender mines, with smoke grenades, with Goyo canisters, and then Handy on the Warden. This is really an anchor strategy. FaZe Clan would be happy defending this 5v5. The fact that they get to defend this 5v4, I mean, I hate to be a downer, but this is going to be the most dominant start to a round that FaZe Clan have had since the game begins.
Not a lot of action given the timer, Jesse. Just a minute to go. JV on that thankless roll yet again. First casualty on the side of T-Law. At least it's not KZ. You don't want to lose the Ying that early on, and your hope is that all the hard destruction has gone from the Hibana. You still do have backup. I mean, look at how much you have. You've got the Ying with the secondary hard breach. You've got Ace with still one Soma in pocket.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts. It slows them down, but they get everything they eventually wanted. They have to make something happen with these Candelas now. It's the only advantage they have.
It's really all they have going for them, right? They've still got nades. Maya was by this Moto doorway, but the Warden of Handy is placed perfectly, and they're not expecting this. They weren't expecting Maya's swing either. Andy is absolutely dominated in that position. King tears through Philippok's, and now it's T-Law staring down the wrong side of a 3v4. Maya hoping for something over towards blue. KZ finding his footing. Down goes King. An opportunity onto the Fenrir. Maya will claim him. Hoping to secure more than that, dancing around those soft walls. Diffuse Kid going down. KZ pulls it off well. Nade and Maya now to cover as Cyber gets quite aggressive towards the bottom of the stairs, finding the flank. KZ dies. The coverage from Nade was not good enough. Cyber now maneuvering over towards blue, punished by Maya. Maya has a quad kill available. Will he find Souls? 7-0 for Souls. Make that 8-0 in a 1v1 against Nade. Is there a position for him to long arm here? He's going to attempt. Nade now slowly encroaching upon this diffuser. Souls is sticking. Souls off. Oh my Jesus! Souls does it again and again and again. 3 rounds in a row. FaZe Clan firing on all cylinders.
There are no words, Parker. Nothing can be said about Souls. Despite every advantage the Diffuse Kit has planted, they have numbers. They're pushing in with really good space. The time is on their side. It doesn't matter what Team Liquid Alienware do for the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds. In those last 10, Souls is showing up and putting his foot down. 9-0. This is a ridiculous start for Lucas Schinke. I mean, you're just so insane on FaZe Clan. One of the longest standing members of FaZe, been with this organization since March of 2021, and frankly, Parker, on pace to have his best game ever wearing the red and black. He's just been absolutely a nightmare. I thought Perez earlier in this day was going to be putting up the best performance anyone's ever seen, at least through this kickoff. But now Soul's giving him a run for his money. That should have been Team Liquid Alienware. Maya did everything in that round. He killed the Warden. He got the multi-kill. He got the space with his nades. But who cares when Souls is still alive? None of that seems to be a factor.
I mean, I hate to point fingers here, but honestly, a lot of it was on the sledge at the bottom of main stairs. You're supposed to be preventing a flank through the main hallway, but you're just a bit too passive, and it ultimately costs you the round. I mean, Nade obviously does not... Nade is not owed anything, and Nade is not the only one that was a problem there, but I mean, if you hold that flank and you kill him, worst case scenario, you die on the bottom of main stairs, KZ can then pivot and try to get the kill as well. But Nade was just a bit too passive in that position. I don't know what they were expecting. I don't think they were anticipating Souls to maneuver like that. Sometimes, Jesse, fate just decides that you don't make it. And that's 3 rounds in a row where Souls has won it for FaZe Clan. And you can make an incredible argument that at least 2 of those rounds should have gone to T-Law. Maybe 3, but 2 of them for sure were T-Law rounds until they weren't.
Yeah.
And it's just, sometimes it's just one guy. Sometimes one guy just wakes up and chooses violence, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. I loved the structure of that T-Law take, the way that they were able to distract the Warden. Maya swinging when they were expecting the Ying to run through was something that FaZe Clan was not accounting for. Then immediately pushing up to blue, taking the engagement with the Fenrir. Like, that was excellent. It was really well done by T-Law. And then one guy just runs circles around you, kills 3 players, and that's it for the round. And man, what a devastating position it would be in. No wonder they called their timeout.
And it's crazy that it's happening against Team Liquid Alienware in particular, Parker. Throughout Kickoff, they have been the most clutch team in South America, winning 19% of their 1vx situations. FaZe Clan, they've been somewhat middle of the pack. They've been fine on the entry, on the clutches, don't get me wrong. But the fact that Team Liquid Alienware have now let a 1v3 and a 1v2 get away from them and go in favor of Souls has just been devastating to watch for fans of this organization. How does the mental remain high? How does the mental remain strong? I guess if anyone's mental could stay strong after a first 4 rounds like that, it's probably the guys on Team Liquid Alienware, but man, that is a rough couple of rounds. I hope they've been able to calm their nerves over that attack timeout. Now on the attack, they're going over to clear the top 4 once again, Parker. They start with their breaching.
Diffuser going down really early on. JV92 surviving to the halfway point. Handy as the Warden. He was not successful in the previous round. This time he has turned things around. Vidiking now on the board. It was a rush strat that was cooked up by that T-Law timeout. I have to imagine it does not pay off. Vidiking very low on HP. Handy bleeding out, which makes it more winnable for these 2 guys left on Team Liquid Alienware, but Nade and Maya are trapped outside of the building right now. No defuse kit to be had. Still a minute left, and Handy has been retrieved. So, not sure how this one is going to play out. This might be one of the more dominant rounds that we've seen, which after the last one is heartbreaking for the Horsemen. Razor Bloom will go off, giving information to the defenders now of FaZe Clan, and a bit of a reflex test as Nade ascends up towards Catwalk, takes out KDS. KDS yet to find a single kill. Maya almost gets a double from that position, but the collateral is not to be had. Now it's Nade in a very precarious spot. If he goes to vault over, he'll be exposed. They managed to tag him with one of those gas canisters, the very last one, in pocket for Vidiking. Final 30 seconds. Now Nade up red stairs with 3 pairs of eyes from FaZe will be staring in his direction. He gets hit by the Razor Bloom, and Vidiking gets the job done. What a start. 5-0 for FaZe Clan. All hell is broken loose in the server.
And thank God, Parker, I could go for a post round that I don't have to be glazing souls, all right? It really didn't have anything required of him that time. It all came back down to Handy. I'm amazed how much value Handy got in the midst of that round. He's playing the Warden. He's playing at top red in that position. He gets pinged by a Lion scan as soon as that rush starts. They know exactly where he is at. And then instead of just playing passive and trying to cover the plant, Philippox makes the call to push in through the smoke and take the 1v1 against the Warden. I believe, and we didn't see it from his POV, so I can't say for certain, but because he's the one pushing into that angle, his scope likely had less ability to see through that smoke, putting him at a disadvantage, letting Handy kind of win that duel of the 2 operators on each side that can see through the smoke. As soon as he kills the glass, he has free reign to kill the guy planting inside the smoke, and he just stops that rush as soon as it started. Gets 1 more kill late round for the triple total on the round. Handy really does everything to shut down that rush, and you start to think, hey, man, Soul started this game 7-0. KDS might go 0-7, but in the end, 7-0 looks like it's going to be the end of the scoreline if Team Liquid Alienware cannot find some answer better than that.
T-Law's in free fall. This is your own map. This was supposed to be your victory lap. This was supposed to be, you took FaZe's map, and now you're in terrific position to be able to close this out and make your case for why you deserve and warrant that final spot at Salt Lake City. And yet, that's not there. I mean, obviously, there's still plenty. There's two sides to Siege, number one, and number two, there's plenty more Siege to be played, even if you bottom out on Clubhouse. Mentally reset, prep for Lair as your decider. But any celebration that was had on Fortress after that stunning result, part of me sees stuff like this, and I always wonder, did we get the map bans wrong? I know we did not get them wrong.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder just a little bit. So bit early for Team Liquid Alienware now, Jesse. 2 minutes up, and oh my, there goes Vidiking. The Warden was a thorn in the side, immediately traded back. Souls answers. So at least FaZe Clan know that this could be a quick one from T-Law. Cyber goes down now too. They certainly have information. Excuse me, Handy break dancing on the ground. KDS trapped over by weight room. Some heavy lifting now to be done by KDS. Inside of construction, slaughtered by JV92. Finally, Team Liquid Alienware on the board. Some sighs of relief on the player cams as they hope to get this ball rolling.
Well, it took 6 rounds, but for the first time, KDS gets a kill, and for the first time, Souls gets a death. It's nice. It prevents the flawless half, but this has still been dominant from FaZe Clan. Let's hear what our desk has to say about what we've seen so far.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah, it seems like, Leo, we have a flip of our very first map here on Fortress when it comes to Clubhouse, how the performance has been, and really the Souls Glaze Sesh that has been going on so far.
I mean, when someone goes 10-1 in one side in 6 rounds, I think you have to praise him. It's also the kills, it's the 10 kills at the last moment in the round. It's not like if he was going in entry. It's literally these kind of rounds where, round 1, 3v3, very winnable for Team Liquid Alienware. It was actually a 3v2, and he gets a double kill. In this one, it's a 1v3. One guy's injured, gets the kill here, and gets to play aggressive, or again against one of the last guy covering the diffuser, and manages to win that one. And it's just, you're like, okay, that's 2 rounds. He just saved 2. He cannot save more, right? And it just kept on going. I felt like in general, FaZe did a great job at playing towards the late round. You can see it in many of these rounds. It's down to a 4v4 or a 3v3 in the last 20 seconds. It's clearly the game plan from Team Liquid, but the problem is they're not at the advantage here. The defense is. And when you have such a good player like Souls1 in the backline, he will keep on delivering the right kills. And in this one as well, man, like that's just another clutch. Like he should not get away with this. Incredible. Like just a perfect player, a perfect backline player. And honestly, Team Liquid must be hating themselves because they play things properly. And should these clutches go in a different way, not only could this be 3-3, it could actually be 4-2 on their side. Instead, they're switching to the defense here, and they're 1-5 down.
Well, this is the moment to try to bring this back from Team Liquid Alienware. Maybe we'll get a map 3 out of this, which I'm just going to put my hands up and say it. I really hope that will be the case. But I'd like to have a closer Clubhouse. We talked about it before we started. Clubhouse is all about fundamentals. Go back to them, Team Liquid Alienware. Show us what you got, or else FaZe are going to run away with it. Gentlemen, on the cast, back to you.
Much appreciated. I mean, every matchup is anybody's guess as to who will come out on top. You've got the defending world champions in here, 2-time world champions, and back-to-back world champion finalists, technically. The road that has been paved by FaZe Clan is quite long and is littered with trophies and accolades along the way. Obviously, qualifying for a major should be low-hanging fruit for this team, and yet they find themselves in the lower bracket with their very final opportunity to make it to the Salt Lake City Major hanging in the balance. As you can see from the top of your screen, Team Liquid took map number 1. That was FaZe's map. So Team Liquid Alienware in excellent position heading into Clubhouse, their own choice. And yet the scoreline shows you what has happened. Now, again, it's one of those scorelines, Jesse, where the 5-1 does not necessarily show total dominance from FaZe Clan. I do think there is a world where this could have been a 3-3 first half. So you have to mentally overcome that. And now you hope that you go on to the better side. You just saw what FaZe Clan could do defending. Now it's time for you to do the same.
Yeah, I'm worried still for Team Liquid Alienware though. FaZe Clan, they've played twice on Clubhouse throughout this kickoff so far. Once, of course, against Team Liquid Alienware where they did lose. But in both of their games, they really found success on the attack. They've played 12 offensive rounds on Clubhouse since the season began. They won 75% of those, so they've had a lot of success. 9-3 attacking on Clubhouse since the season started. Certainly going to be a tall task, a bit of a small sample size, you could argue, and that's maybe the one string of hope that Team Liquid Alienware will hold on to, but we have to play the games out. We can't just look at the stats, of course. We've got to find some way for Team Liquid Alienware to break through on this game. Starts with a very heavy roam here on the bottom floor. Lots of cool stuff coming out from the Goyo canisters to the mirror windows to the castle barricades as well. Not all of it brand new, but certainly some of it showing a bit of a different look that we haven't really seen before from Team Liquid Alienware.
You tell me that a round starts off with a Goyo canister being shot out by a Ying shotgun on an unreinforced dirt tunnel, and I would go, huh?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we saw. Ooh, my.
Yeah, Cyber on the Snake. We were kind of talking about it back on map number 1, Parker. He's played more Snake than any other player here in the South America League. In my opinion, he is the best Snake player in South America, maybe the world. You can see it. He's calling for his teammates. He's trying to work these picks, despite the fact that Souls ends up as the opening death.
Unbelievable, that run that Souls has gone on, breaking 10 kills before the side swap even came in. KZ was the standout performer for T-Law in the previous map, and well, it's taken him some time to put the kills on the board. He's done 2 so far. KDS knocked over. This is a suffocating defense by T-Law. Andy now in a 1v5 with a minute and a half to go. This is certainly not the FaZe clan that we thought would show up on this side of the map. It's also not the T-Law that we saw would pop up on this side of the map. Andy runs riot through the bathroom now at the bottom of the stairs. He will have to worry about what is down below, what is above. They just need to waste as much time as possible. Handy on a single point of HP. They're going to throw impacts at him. They're going to fire bullets through the floor. All it takes is one, right? Nade gunning down Handy. Oh my goodness. This is, I mean, everything is winnable. But a single point of HP for Handy, 3 targets to find, and T-Law are going to be a lot more passive, I have to imagine. They've already fallen back. They're holding the crossfire at the top of the stairs. They know he's coming. They heard him shoot the default cam. They'll smoke off one of the angles. Very limited munitions left in that sidearm. Candelas will go. I love this attempt by Handy as we talk through it. I don't think it will ultimately work. Oh, no. That was way too close for comfort, though.
Yeah.
3 players dragged to the depths of hell is, well, it was a great try, but T-Law still wins the round.
I fear the mental would have been absolutely shocked had he clutched up the 1v5. It should not have been possible. Thankfully for Liquid fans, it was not. But a great round that starts things off, likely coming off the back of KZ's 2K there. He managed to get the opening pick onto Souls, and it was a bit of a solo push from Souls. He ended up dropping the Logi hatch by himself on that Grim, a common strat when it comes to that roam clear. KZ recognizes that, takes the 1v1, wins it, gets a couple more then, finding Cyber out on the windows, really takes things into his own hands, and that's important after a team goes down 5-1, after they have such a, frankly, embarrassing first half, for the standards, at least, of Team Liquid Alienware. The confidence is not shaken. They know this FaZe Clan team. They've played them a million times. They know how good they can be, but they also know that, hey, they've got a decent record against these guys, especially over the last year or two. So still have confidence in yourself. Go for these aggressive plays. The side swap can make a big difference, and KZ certainly was feeling that, getting back up to even now, 6-6 in this contest. They're going to need a lot more out of him if they want to pull this game back, but 1 round's a good start.
It's the saying that we use quite a lot, and Laxing has started saying too, that I really appreciate, is that all it takes is 1 round. 1 round is the start of every single comeback, and I mean, that's a confidence-inspiring run for T-Law. Yeah, obviously they lost 3 to the impactless frags of Handy, but I mean, you never really were in much doubt, and I think if they were playing more seriously, they wouldn't have kept engaging the way that they did. Granted, a Ying can really cause some chaos inside of a site, but I mean, just leave them to flounder. 90 seconds to go. You don't really need to do too much. This is a nice strategy here from T-Law. They were trying to get rid of those secondary hard breach gadgets. They ultimately fail. They lose one of those mirror windows in the process. It does force this FaZe Clan team to wrap around the site now. I do believe that main breach is open, but it cost them a fair bit to get there. Oh? No way.
He's trying
way.
it. Oh my god,
my
he gets it. Shirley?
Yeah.
There it is, eventually. That's
He
the
laughs.
Monty.
Oh, he laughed. That's the shield down. My goodness,
Yeah.
a devastating blow for FaZe Clan.
A really important pick to be able to take down the captain. Now you're putting yourself in another great advantage. It's KZ that opened things up in round 7 to give them that lead, and he does it again on round 8, even if it's a little bit more of a cheeky strategy. That will do, and it maybe puts a bit more pause into the minds of FaZe Clan. Do they still want to try to go for this direct push into the site? Clearly the focus is on construction. That's where we find Cyber and Souls starting to make this back push happen. KDS is going to be the one with the defuse kit, with Vidaking now taken down. They're wasting a lot of time having to recover that. There's still more util they have to deal with. 2 Nitro cells in the pocket of Team Liquid Alienware. You're going to have maybe some Kibas still up as well. The 2 Brow canisters from Maya. There is a lot to work with. They've got to find some way to get the man count back, because I fear the positioning and the time does favor the defense.
Oh, absolutely. You have to imagine that Vidaking leading this team in was the main focus, and now they've completely blown that up. Nade will take out the castle barricade at the hands of Cyber now. You touted him as being one of the best solid snakes in the world. And here he is, coming for 2 separate players. My goodness, what a shot on the KZ. And the castle right now might be trapped inside of stock. Tracking him as best they can. Double reinforced wall on stage will keep him alive for the time being. Cyber will have his hands full. He doesn't have enough information. He needs to worry about somebody pushing down those red stairs. He cannot get bogged down. There's also a bulletproof camera in that position to assist him. The castle just needs to tie him up for the next 25 seconds, and they all die in the span of a second. Wow. Nitro cells, bullets, all hitting their marks, and this gap between the two teams has closed in a hurry. T-Law still trailing by 2, but the comeback now, very real.
Yeah, good closeout of a round they should have won. Again, we were watching Cyber down below. The brunt of that push was coming in through construction. That's where we saw Handy. We saw the push coming in from Souls and KZ. They actually were in the bomb site. They were maybe in a plant position, but as soon as they took that space, the guns came alive. All of the anchors really having big moments there. Nade in particular picking up a big double kill in order to help his team out, go from 4 kills up to 7 or up to 6. So nice anchor play coming out from Nade. Really does come back down to that spawn peek as well from KZ, if you can call it. Maybe a run out, I guess, is a better term. A crawl out, if I may. Get that opening frag onto Vidaking. It's back-to-back round wins. I think they're wins you can shake off if you're FaZe Clan, just because you didn't win the entries. You weren't in a good spot going for those executes. You kind of lost them early and you weren't able to recover. If they can just get a good start, if they can get the opening pick, if they can work themselves an early advantage, they should be able to close out 2 more rounds in the second half. It's been a big if, though. They got to find a way to shut down KZ, and so far they haven't.
I mean, you found a way to just shut down Souls. Just wait for the side swap, I guess, at this point in time. I don't know if that's really something that Team Liquid figured out here, but at the same time, you know, you still managed to make him go a little cold. The rest of the team finding some kills here and there. Handy getting on the board, having some pretty decent looks. Cyber as well, and now, well, you hope that Souls doesn't bounce back, because if they do, they're a single round away from moving to match point. 2 rounds away from stealing this map and sending us to lair. That's only a couple minutes. Only a couple minutes for one player to get red hot, and Souls was red hot for what, over 10 minutes before? Obviously, attacking is a lot more challenging, and Team Liquid Alienware look infinitely more comfortable on this side of the map. So I don't suspect we're going to see a ton of pop-off moments, but every time I say stuff like that, it ends up happening shortly thereafter.
They've got a difficult bomb site to try to crack, Parker. There's going to be the clash coming out from Nade. This is not a strategy that he ran so far throughout the kickoff, so this might be unexpected on the side of FaZe Clan. He's definitely run it on Clubhouse in the past in his career, but of course not something we've seen recently to come out from him. They've also got the mirror windows to deal with from Maya. Lots of stall with the Zoto canisters and the Goyo canisters as well, so plenty to try to work through if you're FaZe Clan. They have also not really cared too much about the cache side. They've started by opening the jacuzzi wall. They've got this Logi hatch open, and they do have players down below. But really, it's not a lot of map control that they've been able to take through the first 90 seconds. They're instead hoping that with their utility, they can force themselves into some kind of a pick. Line charge coming through. This might signal the start to some aggression, but it ends up being KDS the first to fall.
Curious as to where he went down. Is that over by the breach? They know that there's one coming up main stairs. They've also got the Goyo canister by Jacuzzi pinged in case they need to stop a Jacuzzi push should it get opened up. You might have to use this lion charge to get over to KDS. He stopped bleeding, so he's being recovered. He was outside on highway. All right, that's where he was, by the AC machine. Vents, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you live. So they've got him back up, but the problem with the Blackbeard is that a single bullet that hits you outside of your shield will down him at this point. He's still in a very favorable spot. Now, looking at the hatch, Overlogi, Nade taking an awful lot of damage. He's actually lower HP than KDS, and there's Handy finding a blind spot, pushing up the stairs, charging on in, traded back, Cyber a kill to eliminate KZ. FaZe Clan coming out ahead here, still trading. The clash, though, of Nade, entrenched in bathroom, fighting back. KDS, what little remains of him, and Vidiking to clutch out against Nade. They've got him trapped in this position. He'll break his own shield. You have to wonder who you're going up against. It's Vidiking, and he doesn't miss. Match point, or well, map point, technically, for FaZe Clan as they stop the bleeding, maybe permanently, but at least momentarily here on Clubhouse.
And I think it's a really great example of how an entry duo can work together to crack around wide open, Parker. It's Cyber and Handy, the primary entry players for FaZe Clan that work their way up the main stairs. Usually when you're pushing gym bedroom, it's rare to have one player on the bottom floor pushing up main. To have two was completely unexpected. So it starts with Handy. He gets that initial frag. He opens the door. He does get traded out as he tries to push into Logi, but they have no idea that Cyber is right behind him. Gets two critical kills in the midst of that push to tilt the man advantage over in favor of FaZe Clan. Does eventually die to the clash, but he's drawn enough attention. He's gotten enough damage down onto the defenders that his teammates are able to clean things up. Nice little frag at the end there from Fleetbox. You said it, not missing for, from FaZe Clan. Not missing those frags as they come on through. Vidiking, the other captain, getting a really big final frag. And it puts himself in a comfy position where now the next 3 rounds will be rotating through 3 different bomb sites, and they just have to win one of them to force a third map.
And Lair will await us. And Lair obviously having quite the history with this FaZe Clan team. It will potentially now determine whether they miss their first major in 4 years' time. That would be insane to think about. But let's not kid ourselves. Both of these organizations, huge in the gaming world, huge in esports, huge in our scene. They've been here since basically that first gold rush occurred back in 2018 when all the big orgs started to take over from the smaller ones that had supported Siege through its first year and a half. They have supported their teams in Brazil, and FaZe Clan in particular has kept this roster for so long without making many changes. Team Liquid Alienware, admittedly just as loyal to Nesk, keeping him on that roster for the entire run until he retired, now picking up what used to be the W7M, then became Furia roster, and just keeping Maya on board as Herds opted to stay with Furia. And hey, if you're a fan of Furia, the organization, congratulations. They've made it to the Salt Lake City Major. They qualified yesterday or just a couple days ago, depending on when you're watching this. So kudos to them. Now it comes down to these 2 giants. One of them makes it, one of them doesn't. FaZe Clan looking to take T-Law's map, as T-Law had done to FaZe Clan about an hour ago. Can Team Liquid Alienware mount this comeback? 3 rounds is what it will take, 3 consecutive rounds. So they have to double their current total. It's a lot, Jesse, but it's happened before.
We've seen crazier comebacks from these players. Don't need to remind anyone of the Sao Paulo SI Grand Finals. They're against the same opponent and in the same city, so it could happen again. If it doesn't, bit of an embarrassment with their old organization, Furia, qualifying and them missing things out. They would desperately like to avoid such a fate. It's always tough when you're up against the world championship, or the world champions, I should say. I'm blabbering a bit because it's a very passive hold from Team Liquid Alien, where they're not really interested in engaging in these early roam clear operators. They're deciding, listen, despite the fact that we got the better of Cyber previously, we don't want to challenge him on this snake. They've given up this control, and they're happy to play the 5v5 post or hold because they've got so much utility. They've got Valkyrie Kingos, they've got Goyos, they've got Kibas. Bit of an opportunity there for the Warden to make a play, but he finds a Monty. He's just going to rotate on back. There's no effect there with the space just being taken for free by Vidiking. Final 60 seconds, and they can really go for any push they'd like.
This is where you take a deep breath for fans of both teams, and you just wait and hope for the best, right? Handy now, sidearm, walking his way through escape tunnel, doing the opposite of what the name of the tunnel would suggest. He doesn't want to get out. He wants to get in so that his team can then escape this map, head on over to Lair, and hopefully escape the series. Out go the Candelas. KZ reads that one so well. He's got JV92 side by side, and KZ will now take those smart glasses on the Warden, look towards where the execute might be unfolding. The bottom of main stairs over on church side. Solid Snake is Cyber giving information as KDS gets on the board. He hasn't had a lot of kills so far in this series, but he's making up for lost time now, finding high impactful kills. Vidiking in, finds Nade, gets the down, can't do much more than that. A 3v3, time running out. At any point, Vidiking, you need to get that diffuser down. He'll attempt it. Still 2 players watching from FaZe, and they force him off of it. T-Law surviving for another round, drawing us ever closer to overtime.
And just barely able to deny that plant. I'm checking who it was. I think it was Maya. No, it might have been JB92 actually with the TCSG, just barely getting enough damage. He was the one playing inside of escape tunnel, comes out, stops Vidiking from getting that plant down just under the kitchen hatch. It is a matter of seconds, but in the end, it's good enough for Team Liquid Alienware to stay alive in this game, bring themselves up to the 6-4 stat line, and force attack timeout out of the side of FaZe Clan. They're still in a dominant position here, Parker. I would say they're still the favorites to win this map, but clearly feeling a bit of the pressure. That push got very low on time. We said they were happy to defend that 5v5 on the side of Team Liquid Alienware. They did just that, but FaZe Clan deciding it wasn't good enough and wanting to talk with their coach before they move into these final 2 rounds of regulation.
Crazy stuff here. And I mean, El Clasico is a title that is used for a lot. Let's be honest here. El Clasico appears in a lot of other media, a lot of other sports, but when it's FaZe versus Team Liquid, whether with Alienware at the end of their name or not, this is always a match to watch. And when you get 4 of the 5 potentially best Brazilian players to ever play this game, and you keep Maya, a player who has always been good and was somebody you sought out when that old iteration of the Team Liquid roster with Nesk on it was still hoping to compete, well, good things can happen. And this is a very competitive series. Scoreline shows you that FaZe Clan has been better, but again, and I hate to harp on this point, there are at least 2 rounds in that first half that really could have gone the way of T-Law, and that would make such a big difference here in this series. But you don't play on hypotheticals, you don't play on shoulda, coulda, woulda, you play on what is, and right now FaZe Clan is on map point. Layer the tiebreaker, of course, and then if Team Liquid Alienware is able to persevere on Clubhouse, which still remains possible, they get the final Salt Lake City major spot in the SAL kickoff, and they will be the 4th team from Brazil to make it to American soil. FaZe Clan hoping for the reverse sweep, and they are 1 round away from getting half of that job done.
Souls climbs to the roof here on Clubhouse, and it is worth mentioning, Parker. He starts this game 10-0 on the kill feed. 10-5 now after 10 rounds have concluded. So you're starting to see that slowdown. Since the side swap, he's not found even a single frag. And he's the only reason FaZe Clan are even in this series still. If he doesn't pop off, I think there's no doubt that Liquid Alienware would have already won this 2-0. The fact that he's gone quiet, I don't think is a coincidence with Team Liquid Alienware's comeback through this second half. He's on the sledge here, he's got the diffuser, he's opening up these castle barricades. His goal here, Parker, is to get a plant down just inside a gym. He eats a bunch of damage from a nitro cell, and that could be devastating as he does eventually want to go for this play. At the same time, his teammate, Handy, will die to Philippox down in the basement. So this push, while it started off with some strong ideas, has started to lose a lot of its teeth. They got to find some way to get this man count back. We're not even 90 seconds deep.
I mean, we can finger point at Souls a lot. I also think part of it is his roles. I mean, the reason why he was getting all those kills back in that first round was because he's the guy who's usually last alive on his team. If anybody's going to clutch, it's usually going to be him, and that's exactly what he did. On attack, it's a lot harder to be in the position with the deployment that he has. The guy that you expect to clutch out just based on their roles still would be Souls, but clutching out as an attacker on Clubhouse, a lot more challenging to do when the map is actively working against you. When you're defending on Clubhouse, you're going to have an easier time. FaZe, to your point, though, have not really recovered after losing Handy here and most of Soul's HP in the process, and they are just burning time, Jesse. A minute to go. Souls kills Maya. He heard you talking, and he's here to avenge himself. Styber dies in the hands of Philippox. This is a great angle, and they get the drop on the sledge as well. KZ picked apart by Vidiking, currently obscured by that F-mine. Inside a weight room, it's him and KDS to try and hold this round together. They still hold the lead, but T-Law's comeback, very real. They're hoping for a 5th round. 3 players outnumbering FaZe by 1. Slow peek, Blackbeard marching up. Nice play by Philippox as he hits the quad. Will he find Vidiking as well? Vidiking gunning down JV92, 30 seconds to go. An ace to be had for Felipox, but he'll run into nade first around the corner. I don't think they care who gets the kill. It'll be Vidiking! Oh my goodness, what happened? FaZe Clan pulling round after round after round out of nowhere, and they take map 2 to tie this up. Oh, we're going to enjoy it. I have no doubt. I've enjoyed the first 2 maps so far, my good friend Gassan, and I have a feeling that old birthday boy here is very happy that he's getting quite the gift. That is an El Clasico, because ain't nobody expecting the end of that second map. Here we go to Lair. Jesse, and what are your expectations for our tiebreaker?
I really have no clue, Parker, and I know that's not the answer you were looking for, but with the way this series has gone so far, it's tough to call. I will agree with the desk that I think Liquid Alienware have been the better team as the whole. I think strategically they outplayed them on map 1 and frankly outplayed them on many respects in map 2 as well. FaZe Clan, though, they've been the difference maker. They've had those last-second clutches coming up from their support duos, particularly Souls and Vidiking, the star players of FaZe Clan who have been able to step up and keep them alive in this series. So you really don't know if more of that's going to come out, especially here on Lair, a map that has been historically dominant for FaZe Clan, a map that Liquid got 7-2'd on to NIP earlier in the season, probably their worst loss that they've suffered since joining this Liquid organization. So it's really a toss-up in my mind, Parker. I've liked Liquid more today than I've liked FaZe Clan, but all of that could change here on our final map.
I mean, I know that no team ever deserves a spot, and sometimes the better team just doesn't win. You know, some people disagree with that phrasing, and some people say, well, the better team is the team that always won because objectively they won, therefore they're better. And it's like, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. Maybe they were objectively better in the round sense, but there exists a scenario where if this goes into overtime and FaZe Clan perseveres, depending on the caliber of this match, the better team, if it was Team Liquid Alienware, could honestly lose. And the team that just had a couple bigger, more fortunate moments that are not things that you can easily replicate. A lot of those clutches do not happen half the time that we saw on Clubhouse if you give that opportunity for it to happen yet again. So there is a possibility that one of these two teams losing could absolutely say, well, we were the better team. You can say you're the better team all you want while you're sitting at home on your couch and your opponent plays in Salt Lake City to try and be that major champion. Either way, it has been a pretty even contest so far. Who comes out ahead on Lair? This is a map that has a lot of history for both of these squads. Of course, the Team Liquid Alienware team back when they were known as Furia, and of course, FaZe Clan. And oh my goodness, Cyber takes out 2, only felled by the Nitro Cell. Thrown up, but Maya and Felipox are gone.
It's a beautiful entry from the duo of FaZe Clan. It's Handy and Cyber, who have worked well together all series long. Now they've put them into an awkward spot on the side of T-Law. KZ feeling the pressure, gets tracked by the bees and tosses out some of those toxic babes to relieve just a bit of it. Information continues to flow, though. Handy has got this track onto the smoke. This nade will force him even farther back onto the stairs. He's now used all 3 of his toxic babes. There's over a minute left on the clock. KZ has so much more work to do.
MB's going out. KZ taking matters into his own hands, stopping KDS in his tracks. Now it's Souls marching up. Still got one pocket, or still got one set of those bees in pocket. Nade takes one down, traded out immediately as Vidiking and him in a perfect trade. Nobody survives that encounter. KZ on the swing. They've got Souls lined up on the stairs. Surely he doesn't do it again. Souls with some absurd moments. If he pulls off a 1v2 here, I will eat my hat. I'm not specifying which hat, and I really don't want this to happen. 30 seconds to go. He's got plenty of time. Throws the drone out. No way. Oh my God. You gotta shitting me, man. What do you even say here? What do you even say here? How does it happen?
Souls is the most clutch player on planet Earth right now, Parker. I don't know how he does it over and over and over again. But somehow, even in the most unwinnable of situations, Souls finds the 1 in 10 million universes where he comes out with the win. That should never be happening. But he's got good information. He knows exactly where both players are on the pings, and he brings out the secondary because he knows that he's going to have to get quick gunfights. He won't have time to transfer the spray. The bailiff is genius there. You definitely could make the argument that KZ and JV92 did not need to take that fight right there. There was 30 seconds left, and the defuse kit was downed. Souls maybe could have gone and picked it up. You can make debates. It was dropped over in ops, though, so he would have had quite a ways to go take it. You maybe could have gotten a better gunfight, but bro, it's still a 2v1 close quarters. You've got a smoke shotgun on one hand, and then the secondary from JV and the Thorn on the other. They should not have been losing that. But Souls just does things that nobody else can do. He just wins rounds that should not be mathematically possible. And despite how Team Liquid Alienware played that, it really comes down to Souls just doing ridiculous shit. I mean, you said it.
Just... Like, what am I even like? What am I supposed? What do I do? What am I supposed to say? What do I do? I am broken. I have been broken. I need to reboot. Like, I don't.
Can I say, we've talked a million times about the clutches. They also had really good entry, and that was something they had well on Clubhouse as well. Beside from the clutches, Cyber and Handy worked really well to clear ops. You saw Cyber walking in, Handy played the Deimos down below. It was a really cool strat to get that controlled, get that open in 2K. I thought KZ made all of it irrelevant with his play over towards lobby stairs, but there are really strong fundamentals in the early game that are setting themselves up for these clutches that are giving the opportunity over towards Souls, even if it is his miraculous play that closes things out in the end.
It's a remarkable day for Souls so far. Any deficiencies that he had attacking on Clubhouse, papered over by the defenses he had before that, and now the moment that he had in that previous round attacking. I did like the double swing from T-Law. I don't think it was strategically a poor idea. It's just a bailiff at such close range. You think a bailiff's going to kill two people? What are you, insane? And obviously the answer is yes. Souls with his third clutch today in a situation where he shouldn't have any of them. And yet he has all of them. Just really incredible stuff. And again, this is the type of thing that makes you champions. When you have players that can do that, that is what makes you the best of the best. There are just these things that we can't explain. You can talk about strategy, talk about drone work, talk about entries, but sometimes a guy just eats his Wheaties and kills everybody. FaZe Clan making up for lost time on map number 2. Obviously wanted to get to layer much faster. They'll start off with a pair of kills, and it's the same two suspects on T-Law. Maya and Philippox have not been able to play this game very much here on layer. They'll have to wait till the third round.
Yeah, really nice blitz play to get that space coming out from Vidiking. At the same time, KDS finds a pick over towards reception. KDS is one of those guys the desk wanted to see stepping things up, and he does finally get an opening pick now here in the map. 5-2 as Handy finds another one onto KZ. It will be all onto Nade to clutch the 1v5. He got damn close on Clubhouse, but this one also seems very unlikely, Parker.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, he barely... The Goyo canister nearly stopped that plan.
Almost. Yeah, almost stopped it. They don't seem to really know where he is, and at least the suppressed shots will hide his position for the time being, but they're just going to dogpile him. Handy killing his brother, some sibling rivalry in FaZe Clan, off to a terrific 2-0 start.
Pace has been really impressive from FaZe Clan in both rounds. They've started off with really nice entry picks, whether that was Cyber taking the space over towards Ops, or whether that was just going to be Vidiking rushing in with the blitz to take down Philippox early in that second round. The pace has been really oppressive to try to deal with from Team Liquid Alienware, and despite some mid-rounds going their way, it definitely feels like things aren't exactly working out the way they wanted to. I will say, 35 seconds on the clock. If that Goyo canister gets popped a fraction of a second earlier from Nade, he's got echo cams in sight. He's got all the information. I'm never favoring a player to win a 1v5, but that was one of the more winnables if he's just able to stop that plant. It's a shame it goes a second too late and he's not able to pull that one through, but in any case, it's 2-0 for FaZe Clan, and the miraculous play that we saw back on Club seemingly has continued here into our decider map.
FaZe Clan woke up and chose violence, compelled by individual performances. Souls, obviously a huge part of map number 2, carried round number 1 with that incredible moment. Actually, right where KZ just was on your screen. Very coincidental timing there. Question for me will be,
What of Maya and Felipox? You noted it. A terrific entry for FaZe Clan so far. They've been able to enter as quickly as they have. It looks like we're going to get a rehost here. So I'm not sure what exactly was going on, but maybe a bit of a benefit timing-wise for this T-Law roster, as these first 2 rounds have not gone the way that they were hoping for.
Yeah, they'll take a bit of time to reset things, some kind of a tech issue clearly with the lobby, so we'll get things sorted. And it's notable as well that they were going back towards that top floor. We were watching KZ on the smoke set things up around the missile stairs. That's where he nearly won the round for Liquid earlier on, back in round number 1. And it's kind of crazy to think about, because when you talk about KZ as an individual, you really don't think about the smoke play that he very rarely does bring out. But on Nighthaven, or on Lair, I should say, in that one spot, he is one of the best players in the world to play with that utility. It's how he often likes to play that spot. Close with the shotgun, with the toxic babes, with the barbed wire. It is really tough to force him out of that position. You really need like a miracle play with Grim and the Bailiff in order to shut him out in that spot. That is exactly what FaZe Clan had in round 1, and it's clearly something they still think can work for them, as they were setting up that exact same strategy for round number 3. But I do think this might give a little bit, maybe an edge to FaZe Clan, just in the fact that like this mental is going to stew for Team Liquid Alienware. It's really hard to read into like the mental of teams, but like if they get into their heads a little bit too much, could this even be an opportunity for them to overthink those 2 rounds that they just lost, and I don't know, potentially end up coming out of this tech pause even worse than they entered it?
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on I think, your leadership and the team mental. Some players will take the quiet moments between rounds and they can easily spiral. I think mental resiliency is the term that we usually use for it. I think that honestly plays the single biggest part here, because some players will see that adversity and go, okay, we can level up, let's get back in, and use it as motivation. Other teams will crumble and just stew. I don't think you win a world championship, which 4/5 of this Team Liquid Alienware roster has done, albeit under another organization, without being mentally resilient. And moreover, on this map in particular, we saw some of the single greatest mental resiliency we've ever seen in the history of this game, when it was under another banner that 4/5 of this T-Law roster came back on map 5 and ultimately won the hammer on home soil here. So I don't think it's going to be a mental issue for this Liquid Alienware squad, but they certainly have their hands full, and I don't know what they do. Also, I imagine that there is a delay, because I am now getting an incomprehensible amount of DMs telling me I need to eat my hat. So I imagine that Souls Clutch just went live. So I appreciate all of you. If somebody gets me an edible hat, I will actually gladly eat it on camera. I'm not eating a real hat.
Oh, so we're relying on broadcast now.
It's an
so
edible
we're not living
hat.
up to our promises.
There's other edible forms of clothing. I'm certain that there's edible hats out there somewhere.
Sorry, I'm just gonna read back the message. I will eat my hat. Did it say?
I didn't specify what kind of hat it was.
Exactly. You specified it was your hat, and if you don't already own an edible hat, then frankly, that means you got to eat whatever hat you have. There
are some pitas here in a drawer that I have. You could easily put that over your head and help yourself from the sun.
Not everything that you put over. No, that's not a hat.
That would constitute as a hat.
No. It's something. If I went and said to you, "Hey, can you go get my hat? It's in the other room," and you go to the other room, and all there is a pita sitting on the table, you're not going to grab that pita.
What's that hat doing?
No, you're not. You're going to come back and just say, "There's no hat in that room. There's just some pita bread." It's not a hat.
Anything that you can wear snugly on your head that keeps the sun out of your eyes is a hat. That's it. As long as it covers the top of your head and isn't like a visor.
You think a pita bread is going to fit snugly on your head and block out the sun?
I think it depends on the pita.
What do you mean?
And the degree of heat that is coming off the sun and how much sunlight there is. I think absolutely it could be.
I don't think that's going to hold up in the public court of Twitch chat. I'm just saying that.
I remember one time saying that if Space Station, this is back when I lived in Poland, if Space Station won, I think it was the whole qualifiers, I would chug a full glass of milk or something like that. And they did it. And then I got back to my place in Poland at like 7 a.m. and realized that the only thing I had was like soy milk that I was using for like a specific recipe, because I didn't want to use like regular milk. I don't know. I was in this process of like maybe being vegan. And I had to chug an entire glass of soy milk on stream. and let me tell you, it was a very unpleasant experience. Now I have to eat a hat. I'll take this. I'll take the glass of soy milk any day of the week.
Yeah, that frankly doesn't sound like a challenge at all. What do you mean you
Soy
lost
milk
a
is
bet and had
gross.
to drink
Soy milk is
milk?
gross.
But even the basis for that whole bet, that doesn't make any sense at all. I would chug a glass of milk just on a Wednesday.
I have Wednesdays. What's wrong with the other days?
I'd do it on the other days too, but like Wednesday's usually my milk day.
Not like Monday, not for some alliteration. It's like Monday milk day.
No, Wednesday's always been milk day. Cyber having his milk today. He takes down Maya for the opening pick, and he has been so good with the entries today, Parker. He did it in round number 1, walking in through ops, and he does it again. Handy down below, gets the intel. Cyber gets that pick. It's beautiful.
I will eat an edible hat if somebody can get me one, by the way. If in Salt Lake City we can find like a baker that makes like a hat out of like something edible, I will 100% eat it. I'm not eating a real fabric hat.
What if it's a soy milk hat?
It's a weird mixing of two separate things, but I'm gonna try it. Cyber, by the way, is killing everybody. This timeout has not really helped any. I mean, it wasn't a timeout. It was a tech issue that was now resolved, but I mean, it certainly hasn't helped T-Law one bit. Maya still unable to play this game. He's been one of the first frags on T-Law through 3 rounds in a row. Leapawk's still upright, though. Fire in the hands of both of their operators. Only one of them will have an active gadget, so you have to hope that Leapawk stays alive, and there's some flames in front, but I believe that's from the Goyo canister.
Nave's not watching the right angle, Parker. He gets taken down and leaves JV92 now in a 1v3. Finish off the down player. They know exactly where he's at, flashing him out and forcing him into a really awkward gunfight. Still over 75 seconds to go as well.
There's no way he wins this, right? No, of course not. Cyber finishing him off. A huge 2-piece to start the round. Cyber closes out this 3rd round, and it's another perfect rotation for FaZe. They did it as defenders. This time they'll do it on attack. It has been quite a miserable last hour for these Team Liquid Alienware players.
I mean, it shows the skill that us 27-year-olds still have in a game like Rainbow Six Siege. He is the oldest player in the South America League, but he still looks like one of, if not the best. His entry game is ridiculous. He continues to show that early gunfight pressure that is so strong. It's what he's been known for his entire career. And Cyber still doing it at 27, making sure that everybody knows his name. 3-0 for FaZe Clan. They will ban out the Monty. I don't feel like that has been the big problem for them this game, Parker.
No, I mean, they've had a lot of problems, and I don't think a single ban is going to save them here. There's some structural issues that this T-Law roster has. The entry for FaZe Clan has just been unstoppable. They've been dominating the first 90 seconds of all 3 of these rounds, and T-Law's basically had to play a 3v5 for most of the action, right? Because obviously you spawn in, it's a 5v5, that's fine. But when that rubber hits the road at about the minute to 90-second mark, and that's when action starts happening, T-Law crumbles. And without Maya, and often without Philippox, you are down 2 incredible threats. And the thing about Maya and Philippox in particular, is that you are playing a very high-value utility operator. Yeah. Sure, Philippox can frag well, but his gadgetry is usually an active gadget, and when he dies, those gadgets die with him. Now he's playing more of a passive operator, so he's got Thorn. Some teams will keep those Razor Blooms in back pocket, so if Philippox dies early, you hope that he's put his gadgetry down. But I mean, the idea here is that none of them die early. Why is T-Law in a position where they are getting traded out? Or they're not getting traded out. Why are they just giving themselves up through these 3 rounds? It might happen again. As Cyber on that operator you said he's known for so well, shooting through the wall, doesn't really do much damage, almost loses his life. But it could have been another great entry for FaZe Clan.
Yeah, didn't quite have the angle he was looking for, but again, Cyber's so good on this snake, and you say, why are we giving up these opening picks? It's tough when Cyber's on the other side of things. You really got to look to Maya. He has by far been the best entry player, not just for Team Liquid Alienware, but inside the South America League. 15-6 on opening duels coming into this game. It was the best entry differential of any player before this series started. And now, I mean, he's really just not had that early round impact. If anything, KZ has been the best entry player from Team Liquid today. And even he in this map of Lair has been really struggling a little bit to get active, to find those opening gunfights. It has been the Cyber Show. It was KDS in round 2. You're right, they've got to find some answer to this, but so far it's not coming. A lot of space taken by FaZe Clan early in this one. They haven't really pressured the top floor much. KDS is in that direction, but really it has been all horizontal coming in from the garage. Handy up here as well.
Careful. My radar's picked.
Still so much intel being gleaned from this operator. If you're not playing Solid Snake, by the way, you really should. He's a terrific and selfish operator in solo queue, because while we watch this game from a pro perspective, we know that the dozens of people that watch this broadcast will also turn around and play casual, quick play, ranked, whatever game mode you choose to play. That F2 plus the gadgetry, Solid Snake is a terrific operator and very good if you're solo queued, so you can play him and play him very well. Down goes JV92. So FaZe still doing very well in those early moments. They find a different target this time. The Goyo will have his canisters down to do some damage. KZ on the board, eliminating KDS. So back to even numbers. Handy trades it. FaZe just dominating, though. What can slow them down? 2 remain, 1 remain. T-Law imploding in front of our very eyes. Only KDS dying on the side of FaZe Clan. Handy seals the deal, and nothing is slowing down the assault of the defending major champions, now up 4-0, screaming their way towards the final major spot.
Brilliant push in through the garage side, Parker, and it comes off the back of that wonderful Blackbeard play being run by Souls. He does a really great job of taking that space, and you could tell Team Liquid Alienware were worried about the shields. It's why they banned the Monty after the first 3 rounds, despite the fact that it hadn't been played at all from FaZe Clan through the first quarter. It's the Blackbeard that ends up coming their way. They have so many shield counters in that round too, Parker. They've brought out the Ella and kept the mines in pocket. They've got the Goyo, they've got Banshees, they've got the Denari Tripwires, even the Thorn, keeping gadgets again in pocket to deal with that Blackbeard, to slow down that shield. But does it matter? Absolutely not. That space gets taken for free. He finds the opening pick, Souls does. They manage to take that space, and then even when a couple kills go back, even when we see KZ get active and start to get some kills on the board for his team, they're immediately traded out because everyone on FaZe Clan is on the same page for that push. It has been really, really tough for Team Liquid Alienware to hold on in a lot of these bottom floor rounds. This has been by far the best sight that we've seen from FaZe Clan so far. The top floor has been, I would say, better, but even then, miracles are giving it the way to FaZe Clan, and the opening picks have still been very good for FaZe in that respect. So I don't know what the answer is for Team Liquid Alienware. I hope that Igor does, head coach of this squad, will try to do something in his last tack time out of the series, down 4-0. It's got to be now or never.
I just ventured over to Twitch chat to see what they were talking about, and they are talking about me eating the hat. So I fear this is something I cannot outrun.
I like the idea of a soy milk hat. I
So
don't know
like
how
soy
it would
cake,
come...
like milk cake and stuff like exists. If they, here's what I will agree to. Obviously, we say stuff on broadcast usually as silly little comments. I will gladly eat, like if we can find a baker in Salt Lake City that can make like a hat-shaped cake, I'll eat the entire thing. As a diabetic, it was not a good idea, but I will eat the entire thing, and I will do it on camera. We can gladly make a bit of it. I'm not going to eat a real hat, and chat can get as angry as they want, but look, we are already full of microplastics. I don't want macroplastics just going straight into my bloodstream. So we will find a compromise. If I have to pay for it in Salt Lake City, I will gladly do that. And we will eat the hat as a bit at the major.
A leather hat wouldn't have any microplastics. It would just be
Not eating leather.
You could, though. Cut it up into small enough pieces.
It's not about the practicality of it.
It is for me.
We can make it into a good bit here. Anyway, for those that are wondering, I was going to say, for those that are wondering, FaZe Clan is driving the bus to Salt Lake at the present moment. Team Liquid Alienware have not really shown up for this map. Granted, they had a bit of a backbreaker in round number 1, which is why we're even talking about eating the hat in the first place. But it's been a team effort after that. Souls got things kickstarted, and since then, the rest of the team has taken over full control.
KZ in his favorite spot on the map, though, Parker. He was so good in this position back in round 1. He was very, very tough to force out, even though Souls eventually did it. We once again have Souls on the other side, but he's actually pressuring up inside of Ops right now, not taking this same direction, despite his util giving information over towards his teammate Avidaking. Most of this push is coming either in through the bathroom here or over towards Ops. Got a lot of pressure on different angles being played by FaZe Clan, still fishing for that first opening pick.
One of the bit of slower rounds here just by timing wise. Fleepox almost died early. That's not what you want from him on his roll. Still got those active gadgets in pocket. KZ's used all of his smokes with a minute to go. That means that this shield of Vidiking should have no problem finding his way towards the bomb site. Now on the top floor, going through the old Deimos office. And he'll have a shotgun pointed at him, just waiting ever so patiently. Makes a lot of noise. Logic bombs going off, so T-Law will have their hands full with some counter intel that's used by the attackers. A fall off now from Vidiking as he circles around and will go through the corridor, hiding his feet for the time being. He does have a teammate not far removed. Not really involved in the altercation just yet. Nade goes down. Fleepox almost losing his life as well. FaZe Clan continuing with the trend line that we have seen, dominating on these entries. Maya showing some life. KZ as well. KZ finds two, in fact. And now it's Cyber to try and get the plant down with Handy watching over top of him. Can he shut it down? Down goes Maya. Plant not gone down. 10 seconds left. Cyber will need to find an opening. Maybe he's done it. JV92 getting rid of his chaperone. Cyber hoping for a kill in the midst of the fire. He's not going to get the job done. T-Law on the board. Finally, it's a scrappy one, but a round's a round.
They get the job done, Parker. It comes off of KZ's fantastic play. Was holding down those missile stairs with the smoke, but gave it up relatively quickly. Of course, the bomb site wasn't up above as it was the last time he played on that smoke. It was one floor below, trying to hold down bunks and briefing. And I think for FaZe Clan, they didn't get as much out of that top clear as they wanted. They spent a lot of time trying to break into the floor above the bomb site. They had the Blitz up there. They had the Grim up there. They had a bunch of utility dedicated to clearing top floor, but they never really got it. KZ was able to step up and take a lot of important gunfights to keep the man count advantage favorable for Team Liquid Alienware, even though they lost that opening pick, even though Cyber got yet another entry in this game. They battle back really nicely, and as long as you hold top floor control, that is such a difficult bomb site to try to get the plant down. If you're going to plant on that site without the vert, you kind of need to go all in with a shield and a Sens and a Ying and anything you can to enable that plant to go down. Without the utility and without top floor control, it just wasn't really in the cards for FaZe Clan. They nearly planted on a Goyo canister, for God's sakes. It was not the push they were looking for, but in the end, still driving this match, still up 4-1, still in a good spot to be able to take a 5-1 half because their pushes on this site have been very good.
And then all you do is get through this, and then you get the benefit of defending on this map. Of course, while most maps skew towards the defender side, Lair has gone all over the place. For most teams, they tend to favor that defender side, but with the way FaZe is playing, I don't think they really care what side they're on, Jesse. They have played with tons of confidence. And there's been mistakes here from T-Law on these roams that have been exploited very well. FaZe Clan are not going to have the benefit of exploiting that when they're defending. They will be at the mercy of the advance from T-Law. How will Team Liquid Alienware go about it? Well, if they show even half of what we saw from FaZe Clan, then I see no reason why the Horsemen can't pick up a couple rounds. I think at this point in time, the goal is try to pick up this final round, emerge with that gap as close as possible, and give yourself some mental momentum. It's going to be a little harder losing the Echo early. Nade picked off by Cyber. Cyber's woken up in this map. Ian Handy combining for 11 kills, more than all of T-Law combined, and that's not including the other players on FaZe Clan. It really has been quite a dominant first half for the defending major champs. They'll lose Cyber to a Nitro Cell, so things right back at even footing with about half of the round to go.
That's all right, Parker. Job's done. You get the opening pick onto the Echo. That could not have been a better operator to take down. Cyber, you said it. He's got 5 kills. 4 of those now have been opening kills throughout this first half. He has been so good on these entries. I've said it a million times, but it's still true. He's been phenomenal in this aspect. Now they've cleared out the roam. Now they've forced these players back towards the site. And they still have good time to work with as well. These Echo cams, of course, could have still been used for vision, even if they couldn't be used to deny the plant. So they'll clear those out. Information being gathered by Souls, of course, since the Thatcher rework, he can find those gadgets as well as disable them, which has been really, really helpful for FaZe Clan throughout this push to try to get some of these picks. Bit unconventional, but 2 thermite charges will open 2 hatches, no problem. They can start to work exactly the push they're looking for. As long as it doesn't get tricked, which it does not, they're in a great spot to go for a plant just inside of offices.
Oh, I mean, it was a good attempt. It was just a little bit off of the mark. And because of that, now an easier way in for FaZe Clan, but Vidiking bites off more than he can chew. KZ is really the man keeping this team in it. He was in this position on Clubhouse. He top fragged all the way back on map number 1 on Fortress, and now he's putting in some serious work here. He found almost a second life for this T-Law team now as they outnumber FaZe Clan 2-1. Andy lets one escape on by. KZ dies at the hands of KDS. You've still got 2 terrific players on FaZe, and now with the gap ever closer, and there's no active gadgetry remaining on the side of T-Law, this is winnable, but the time just might be a bit too much. Andy will have to march in, get the diffuser down with 3 seconds to go. He's not even in the bomb sites, and he won't even begin to give it an attempt. 2 in a row for T-Law. As they close the gap, it's still a lead for FaZe Clan, but they've set themselves up nicely and are hopeful that this layer will skew towards the attackers in the second half.
Handy with 2 more seconds could have found Maya. He was not far. They were both in the lab bomb site, but unfortunately there's just a little bit too much of the equipment, too many of those barricades. It stops the push from happening. We got our desk jumping in now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, at the halftime point, FaZe Clan are up 4-2. We talked about this before we got into the map, Leo, that Lair is not really that defense-sided map. People have figured it out, and FaZe definitely has on the attack, including sometimes having individuals popping off.
Yeah, it was always going to be a question. Are they going to be able to carry on the momentum that they built on Clubhouse? And I think the very first round started giving us hope of the same thing. An incredible clutch from Souls One. I just want to rewatch it here. It was absolutely insane. How many more can they do? The Bailey found the double kill. He's so good at this. And then after this, honestly, I'm just looking at so many rounds where I can see Team Liquid either trying to play the safe game, either trying to play the roam game. And despite that, look at this. How many times does FaZe Clan get the opening pick? It just keeps on happening. Whether Team Liquid are on a heavy room, whether they're close to the bomb site, no matter what happens, no matter how late, look at how many times in the last 30 seconds, last minute of the round, FaZe Clan gets the opening kill and manages to snowball from there. It is incredible because basically, you want to give up some space to FaZe Clan. You want to play the time, but if you do that, FaZe Clan will go through all of the motions, go through all the steps perfectly. They don't leave any gaps, and they're just so perfect as a team right now. It feels like Team Liquid, they're trying to play the time, but it just doesn't work. They need to fight more, and the problem is, it just doesn't work on our side. Consistently, FaZe pick up the opening kill. Consistently from that, they retain that man advantage. FaZe right now in flow mode. Now, of course, Team Liquid managed to win the two last rounds, and even these ones were super close. You could see it with the last 1v1 now, with Maya remaining on the last round. But honestly, I still see FaZe taking this. They're in the driver's seat. They have the best momentum. You can feel it from the cams of the players on the side of Team Liquid. Pressure is on them.
Now all on Team Liquid Alienware to try to bring this one back from the dead. 4 rounds in the attack. Maybe they can pull that off and really take us to overtime. I'm rooting for that one, though. We'll see what happens in the reality of things. It's on to Jesse and Antero.
Thank you very, very much. FaZe Clan showed up on layer stronger than what we'd imagined, especially given that Clubhouse scoreline, right? We did trip over ourselves a few times to say, well, if 1 or 2 rounds go a little bit differently, T-Law probably emerge 2-0, but I don't know what it is. It's just this org. It doesn't matter what players seem to compete on it. This org is just like almost cursed at this point in time in Siege. Yeah. Or Team Liquid Alienware, it's same-ish, different day for them. Still, there is a possibility of a comeback here. If T-Law can win this 3rd round in a row, the first of this second half, I honestly think we got ourselves a ball game, and it's very likely that we do go to overtime. And of course, when you call it El Clasico, you need a classic match between these two. Can't be disappointed, Jesse.
Absolutely not, Parker. It needs Team Liquid Alienware to be strong on these attacks, though, and that's going to be my biggest issue with this potential comeback. Remember, they already played Lair up against the NIP earlier on in Kickoff, and that was a fast game. They only ended up playing 3 rounds on the attacking side, but in those 3 rounds, they got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 0 round wins. They didn't win a single offensive round. So there's a little bit of footage. They've certainly got new strats that they can bring out onto this map, but there is definitely a trend of them struggling on the offensive side, and they have to be able to turn that around now that they're against FaZe Clan.
There could have been some quick action there too. Cyber wanting a piece of this Team Liquid Alienware squad and pays for it quite dearly. Still alive. Still has Keratos in pocket. Still has MP7 as main rider. Still has NitroCell in pocket as well. So good thing that Cyber didn't die. And well, Cyber has been instrumental in FaZe Clan overcoming the TL Alienware hurdle that we've seen. Again, he and Handy have been terrific for this squad, finding so many really good moments. It's a bit of a shame that we lost some of the stats with that rehost after, was it the second round? I believe it was. The rehost happening between rounds 2 and rounds 3, because it would give us a better picture of these numbers. Obviously, the Souls clutch, not visible on these numbers. KZ now doing some serious work down below, almost at the halfway point of the round, trying to track them with the death mark, and he's using the sidearm and nades to good effect, but hasn't been able to find really all that much. He's taking a couple shots in the process, Jesse.
Yeah, it's been a little bit tough to clear out this position. 90 seconds deep now, Parker, and they're still just trying to get control of ops. This mirror window yet to be dealt with. They didn't bring in a util to clear it out, and they're going to lose Maya early here as they push on through. Handy with a second one now playing in that Mez position. He gets a third looking through the floorboards too. KZ goes down, and everything is falling apart for Team Liquid Alienware. The first task of this push, get control of ops, has fallen flat on its face. They now need to pivot to a different style of push. Nade grabs the kit. JV is over here in storage hall, but Parker, this push has just been dismantled before they even get to the bomb site.
Down goes Nade to a NitroCell. FaZe is in complete and total control, and it is a drubbing right now that is being done to T-Law. Soul's on the ground. He'll send the round away. That 2-round run for T-Law ends at the hands of FaZe Clan and the side swap. 2 rounds away from FaZe being the final team from Brazil to clutch a major spot.
What is JV even doing all by himself on the floor? Is there? He decides he wants to use his util, but then he's in a 1v4, so he says, never mind, has to shoot the drone. I mean, it's not the thing that lost him that round, but it maybe shows a little bit of the chaos potentially going on in the Team Liquid Alienware comms. They're not they're not on the same page. They're not bringing the right utility that they need to try to clear out some of these important positions. They had a Deimos down below, and they still couldn't get that mirror window popped out. They had an ace trying to pressure into ops as well, but the mirror window continued to persist. It was great util play from FaZe Clan to enable all of that, and it was amazing shots from Handy as well, who's been stepping up so fantastically all day today. He is now 13-2, including the rounds before the rehost, so 11-1 on your screen. The stats will be phenomenal no matter which way you look at it for him. It just feels like FaZe have complete control over this map from top to bottom. They know how they want to play it, and they know how Team Liquid Alienware want to play it. They're not letting Liquid do what they want to do. They have been really dominating this map from start to finish.
There really haven't been a lot of good looks here. I do wonder if maybe the tides turn, if that first round goes a different way. Let's say that Souls isn't able to clutch out. You just had to go through an entire map on Clubhouse where the impossible happened more often than you'd imagine. The unthinkable, well, they thought of it. Here, then, to start off map number 3, I do have to wonder if it breaks your mental a little bit. We did say that mental resiliency is something that this Team Liquid Alienware roster has handled before, but still, it's a new day. It's a new meta. It's a new roster. There's more on the line here. Just, I imagine that it kind of breaks your back after that very first round, and a lot of good teams would not be able to recover from that. That could be the culprit here. Oh, my.
Parker, is this
let's put it professionally. Maya's at a stinker of a layer so far. He has had very limited impact. He has, what, 1 kill so far on this map?
Yes, he's 1-7 now, Parker. He's really been struggling, and in a game where FaZe Clan now have 8 opening picks in a row, your primary entry going 1-7 is not a coincidence. Now, they're bringing things back. They get a couple of kills, and from inside of stock, they're managing to work these picks. The push actually looks pretty good, all things considered. The drops coming back in from the roamers, and they can try to bring this one back. Do not count out Souls and Vidaking. They've clutched so many rounds like this before.
Vidaking clutched to send us away on Clubhouse. Souls got them into that position through 2 clutches, 3 clutches, and then round number 1 here clutching again. If there's 2 guys on FaZe Clan that you want to be in this position, it's both of them. KZ and Fleepox have their hands full. They've eliminated one of the big bads. Now it's up to the King to prove that he's earned that crown. Sweeping now through. finds KZ. Philippox has to stop the plant because he has no coverage anymore. He was mere moments away from throwing this round into a post plant. He'll attempt it yet again. 1 minute left on the clock, and guess what? The crown well earned on top of his head. FaZe Clan win yet another, and they're a single round away from Salt Lake City.
Genuinely baffled, Parker. How do they keep on doing it? Clutch after clutch after clutch after clutch. It doesn't stop. This FaZe Clan team, it's written in the stars that they must go to every single event over the last 4 years, 1,000 days. I forget what the stat was. Vidaking plays it oh so perfectly in the 1v2. They try to get that plant down from Liquid Alienware, but it's not quite good enough.
Attackers need to locate and
Oh, it's just chaos in the midst of things. And the worst thing, Parker, they had a drone inside of Toxin. They had a drone in Toxin in the 1v1. That is exactly the path that Vidaking tries to take to make that play happen. And despite the fact that I think he would have been seen on the drone, I don't know exactly where it was. There's no reaction, there's no call, nobody's on that drone, and it ends up just being a free 1v1 from Vidaking to stop that plant and get series point for FaZe Clan, one away from the major.
I was really hoping for a more competitive third map here, and I mean, it just doesn't look like it's going to materialize. It's possible. There is the comeback potential here, but not going to say anything because I don't want to have to eat another hat, Jesse. It's one's quite enough at this point in time.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at this matchup on paper and you think, damn, this is for a major spot. This is remarkable that these are the Titans that are having to face off. And I mean, yeah, you can say that, oh, this is a really competitive region. These kind of things happen. But frankly, there are more than 4 excellent teams in Brazil. That means just by process of elimination, 1, maybe 2 really damn good rosters are not going to make it. Welcome to the show. Every team in Brazil has to deal with this exact same set of circumstances. It's up to you to prove that you are one of the 4 best. And frankly, you can sit there and say, oh, yeah, the better team lost today, or, oh, it should have been a 2-0 for Team Liquid. And you know what? I'm sympathetic to that line of thinking. But at the end of the day, you being better on paper, you being better in theory, that's not what's going to get you a ticket to the major. Being the better team objectively and practically, that's what will. And right now, it's FaZe Clan in that position. Jesse, 2 minutes away from the defending major champs, being the final team from Brazil to clinch a spot.
Well, I said last time they really struggled to clear this top floor. It was actually a really strong defense that we saw before the side swap. Now Team Liquid Alienware, they're going to just completely ignore the top floor. They've got the send set up. They've got the shield from Nade. They've got air jabs and gridlock. I mean, they've got everything that they could want to stop a flank to get back down to the site. They have no intention of clearing up above. Watch for these sends walls to come out. Once they come through, once the flashes gets tossed, that's going to prompt the idea for FaZe Clan. This plant's going to come out. They've expected it. They've got good tools for it. The Solus up above, the Tachanka up above. They've got ways to deny this plant, even if they can't see it, even if those sends walls are coming through.
A lot of pressure now on the shoulders of this T-Law team with 1 minute to go. FaZe getting moved out of these positions. Nades dropped on their heads like anvils. First kill will go to Philippox. His number's underwater. He's had a rough day. Maya's still alive. He's had a rough day too. If these two can make some serious noise, anything is possible. Nade is there for support if need be on the Blackbeard. His number's not very pretty either. I think these kill totals reflecting the scoreline very effectively. Still coverage from above as now you see those Molotovs shot out by Handy through that Shumika launcher. The Sens wall obscuring them, but Nade now taking some damage. Right call from Handy as he tries to find his brother amidst the chaos down below. KZ now watching. Handy dropped. Nade dropped as well. This is a desperate attempt as the diffuser gets picked back up. KZ will immediately get right back onto that. The numbers helping Team Liquid Alienware, but Vidaking still holds court above. Diffuser goes back down again. It will need to be retrieved by somebody on T-Law. That'll be Philippox to do that. Ian Maya, last 2 standing. Now the numbers benefiting FaZe Clan. Time running out. Philippox attempting it. Stopped at the last second. The King polishing that crown. 2 incredible back-to-back rounds. And FaZe Clan will make their mark. The last team from Brazil to make it to Salt Lake. And they are all smiles, Jesse.